HQ. Guess the briefing leaked to you. Public servant, private jet. Just good timing, yeah, you bet. Campaign speech about reform while your portfolio outperforms. You call it policy, we call it theft. You write the laws, then place the bets. Retail's dumb, that's what they say. Funny how we lose that way. Smartest guys in the room always know just what to do. Right before the market moves, somehow they get perfect clues. We take risks, they print proof. Whole damn system's bulletproof. Same old lie in a new suit. Smartest guys in the room. Committee meeting closed to press. Stocks go vertical, pure success. Another coincidental trade right before the rules are made. Ethics board says looks alright. Sign here, dated, sleep at night. Blind trust somehow sees the chart. Yeah, that sounds real fucking smart. Sell the dip, buy the fear. Funny how the top is clear. By the time the public knows, somebody already closed. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Funny how it's always you. Smartest guys in the room always know just what to do. Right before the market moves, somehow they get perfect clues. We take risks, they print proof. Whole damn system's bulletproof. Same old lie in a new suit. Smartest guys in the room. Smartest guys in the room always know just what to do. Right before the market moves, somehow they get perfect clues. We take risks, they print proof. Whole damn system's bulletproof. Same old lie in a new suit. Smartest guys in the room.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show, where let me get this frame right, folks. Yes, read it and weep. I am wearing my lucky shirt today, so I'm very much hoping that that benefits all of us. Maybe. Just maybe, as the stock market is getting its balls kicked in right now, we might be able to get on the right side of this trade and make some money. And I guess if you don't make money today, especially when I'm wearing my luckiest of all shirts, that might be more of a you problem. So something probably worthwhile to self-reflect on. So we have a lot to chit chat about today, breaking down the most recent news as it relates to Trump and Iran and Israel and Pakistan and Russia and oil and inflation and this, that, and the other thing. We have some other somewhat related news that we'll get into as well. I want to break down some of the seasonality, some of the key levels, some of the recent things that I've been seeing. I did do some early morning trading, so I want to share that with all of you, kind of break down what I saw, what I didn't see, and I'm pleased to report I have officially secured another $10,000 payout, this time from FFN, Funded Futures Network. So very, very happy to report that we locked that in. So I guess we might as well make them the partner of today's show. I believe they are already the partner of today's show. So that works out beautifully. But FFN, actually, is that already, where's my description? What's going on today? FFN 40% off and BOGO. We might as well celebrate because, like I said, we did lock in another 10,000. Where do we have this? 40% off and BOGO. Oh, this description is completely wrong today, folks. What am I doing? What am I doing? I should be representing this lucky Buffalo shirt well, and here I am completely fumbling the ball this early in the morning. I'm going to give myself a demerit. If I were you guys, I would understand and be like, yeah, Matt probably gets a demerit today, and you're 100% right. So thank you for choosing United. Sick. So I got that. I just found a first class ticket for $150. I have to go to a trading conference tomorrow in the DC area. So granted, flying from New York to DC is like not that far of a flight. But how fucking sick is that? First class ticket for $150? Like, I feel like I just found the best airline discount possible. All I'm reading right now is that oil prices are up. So everything's going up. Driving your car, airplanes, whatever, everything in between. Anything that uses oil in one way or another is going up. And I think I just bought my cheapest flight ever. $150 for first class? Dude, I'm going to be there pinky out the whole time, just sipping on my little mimosa in the afternoon. Just pinky. I might go double pinky out on this one just to really fit in with the elite people in first class. Dude, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I might wear a full suit. I might go full tux on this one just because I need everyone else to know that I belong there. I am, in fact, a first-class individual, so I need them to know that it is reasonable for me to be there with them. So, dude, I might even have to go buy myself a fucking top hat. I'm going to go full vest. Maybe I'm going to get that hanging pocket watch, but I'm promising you this. If you catch me on that flight tomorrow, if you see me on that flight tomorrow, you're going to see double pinky out the entire time. You're not going to catch me slacking for one gosh darn second. Double pinky out no matter what liquid I'm consuming. Now, what is even a rich person beverage? Like, I don't know, some fancy water that no one's ever heard of, some like super high-end mineral water that you can only get from war-torn nations. That's what I'm going to be drinking. That's economy premium is not first class. No, I got first class. What this is what's it called when they have to get one big plane to another airport just for flight purposes? There's a special name for it. But no, this is a big boy. This is like a 737 MAX 8 or something like that. It's a comically large plane for such a small flight. Honestly, that's probably why it's so cheap. Just because, repositioning. This is a repositioning flight. So like I said, it is a comically large flight. So that's now, upon reflection, that's probably why it's so cheap. But hey, don't piss on my parade. You know, like, let me just enjoy this one. All right. Let your boy have a little bit of a win on this beautiful Thursday, March the 26th. Jesus, guys, come on. You know, you guys come in here and you're like, I got a first class ticket. And I'm not the first one saying, no, you don't. I'm saying, congrats, man. I hope it's a really, really relaxing, awesome flight. And I hope you go double pinkies out the entire time. So, Jesus, you guys are just yelling at me. Bunch of yellers this morning. Honestly, I probably started it with coming in with a certain vibe that promoted you guys to yell at me. So, my apologies for that one. But anyway, I should probably be breaking down what's going on in the market. And it goes a little something like this. The news for the past week has been the same individual news every single day. Trump and his team and the larger administration, and I guess the U.S. military apparatus, comes out with some sort of positive leaning comment of, hey, we're in negotiations, we're making progress, it's going to be ending anytime soon. And then within a couple hours, it's completely reverted either by us or the other side, where they're saying, we've never talked to you, you're not making progress, we're not doing this ceasefire. So it's the exact same 24-hour news cycle, just another trading day. We're seeing the same thing time and time again, where our side is pitching something good, kind of giving us that hope that it's almost over, and then it is very, very rapidly faded, and that's where we're at. I've only traded Apex, but looking to add another prop firm. Which one do you guys like? Well, you might as well check out who is the partner of today's show, where I literally just got another $10,000 payout. It is right here. It is pinned to the top of chat. It's also in the description of the video. Funded Futures Network. The code is Goonie. Goonie will get you 40% off BOGO and no activation fee. I know it says max 40 BOGO. Don't believe that. That's not the one with all the luck. If you want the lucky code, the luckiest traders on the planet, it is definitively proven that the luckiest traders all use that code Goonie, Goonie, on Funded Futures Network, 40% off BOGO. So as soon as you get one for the 40% discount, you'll get another one, and there's no activation fee. So code Goonie. So it is pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. My mod will put it in chat, or you could just go to Funded Futures Network and just make sure to type in Goonie. I'm a big fan of the OG Express accounts. Those are my favorites. 150K OG Express. That's a personal opinion. They just really increase the odds of success with my trading style. But obviously, take a quick second to scroll through all the accounts and the account types, and you're going to see what's appropriate for you. So standard is AKA OG, or no, here's OG. I like the Express right here. Express, OG, 150K. Those are my favorites. I know it says 380, but with the 40% off, it's 228. But really, you could cut that in half to about 114, because when you buy one, you get one. So really, you're going to get 2 accounts for 114 each. So this is the setup I like: Express, OG, 150. That's just for me. Obviously, I implore you to check the difference between standard and Express. Well, that's just the time in the past. OG and Max, there's a decent amount of rule changes, and you could see it in there. Once again, I do tell you, please use the accounts that increase your odds of success. I just get this question a lot. Express, OG, 150. That's my favorite ones. But if there's questions on like the specifics or the nuances, I could do my best to answer those. Maybe we'll do that right after market open. But obviously, shout out to FFN. All right, so where are we at? Right now in pre-market trading, things are not looking the best. There is an upside gap fill. We are currently scheduled to open. If we were to open right now, we would be below yesterday's low value on the SPY and the Qs, which obviously means you got to be paying attention to another potential upside gap fill. So if you are tracking this on the S&P 500, the actual index, it is 6568.41. It is the low from yesterday. If you were looking at the SPY, it is the low from yesterday, 654.24. If you were looking at the Qs, it is obviously the low from yesterday. It is 585.69. So once again, folks, we are looking at the low value from yesterday. That would be the upside gap fill. Why is it called an upside gap fill? Because there's a literal gap in the chart. I could show you this better here, maybe on the SPY. If we were to open right now, there would be this gap right here. That was the low from yesterday. This is where we're currently at. There's a literal gap in the chart. This white zone is the gap, and the market, for one reason or another, likes to test these untested areas of supply and demand. So just basically, a lot of people like to play that upside gap fill. Now, is it a guarantee that we get filled today? No, there's no such thing as a guarantee in the market. That's just not how the market works. But the odds of getting the gap fill today are pretty high. And when I say pretty high, I'm talking in excess of 85% at some point today. I'm not saying at open. I'm not saying at close. I'm not saying midday. I'm just saying at some point today, there's a 4 in 5 shot that we actually get this upside gap fill. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm saying specifically 4 in 5, as in 1 in 5, it does not happen. So that doesn't mean you're going to be like betting the entire house on it. Sometimes you want to be paying attention to some of the other news, or maybe you want to pay attention to options and the options flow before you just like blindly take that bet. But recently, we've been seeing more and more gaps, and a lot of them have been filling relatively quickly out of the gate. So if you choose to do that, I'm not necessarily saying it's my favorite play, but obviously I do wish you the best of luck. So just wanted to very quickly call that out for all my early birds, and I'm going to remind you of that as we get a little bit closer to market open. But right now, things are not looking the best. Dow futures dropped 300 points as oil prices move higher again. Iran war continues. Oil prices rise 3% as Iran rejects direct U.S. talks despite proposal review. So right now, in real time, oil's trading at 94. It did get as high as almost 95. Obviously, quite a bit of a bounce from this recent low that we saw at 86. So oil is slowly but surely really climbing back up, which is probably a pretty good inverse correlation for how the situation in Iran is going. So the fact that oil is going up means the situation in Iran is not going so well. And as I alluded to at the start of today's show, it's very much this back and forth of Trump's team, the administration, and the U.S. military apparatus every single day tell us that something good is happening. And then within minutes, potentially hours, someone from somewhere else in the world, specifically Iran or Iran state media, say, no, it's not at all. So we've been continually in this like ping pong whipsaw back and forth scenario, and it seems as if today is going to be no different. Trump team examines what oil as high as 200 a barrel would mean. I can tell you what it means. It means inflation is going to skyrocket. The labor market is really soft, so we're getting closer to that territory of stagflation. And it basically just means the prices of everything is going up for the whole entire globe. Like, this is a global economy impact. Trump administration officials are examining what a potential spike in oil prices as high as 200 a barrel would mean for the economy. The effort is aimed at making sure the administration is prepared for all contingencies, including a prolonged conflict, and is part of a regular assessment done during times of strain. A spike in oil prices to 200 a barrel would be an enormous shock to the world economy, and even at lower levels, oil at 170 per barrel for a few months would push inflation higher and cut economic growth. Who knows if this is true, but recently I was reading the chances of the U.S. economy going into a recession skyrocket if oil hangs out above, I believe the line in the sand is $140 a barrel. So that's way less than what the numbers are talking about here. So obviously not a good overall situation. Trump says the energy shock will be short-lived. CEOs paint a scarier picture. Question for all of you, especially my Trump-loving MAGA people on Rumble. Do you believe Trump? Like, I'm personally at this point where I understand that we live in the gray area. No one is exclusively good. No one is exclusively bad. No one is exclusively right all the time. No one is exclusively wrong all the time. But even for the most hardcore Trump supporters, at a certain point, you have to start to question what's happening. Like, I like this idea of just being a little sheep and following him and just believing him at every single turn. Clearly, it's not short-lived. We've been doing this now for a month. And the fact that everyone's like, well, I shouldn't say everyone. That's not fair. That's not a fair characterization whatsoever. That's on me. I believe you could reasonably be hopeful that it's short-lived, but just to blindly follow what an elected official tells us all the time, like, no, dude, that's just crazy talk. I am dejected at this point. I think a lot of people are becoming dejected. If you look at the combination of specifically talking about the MAGA base, I'm not talking about anyone left-leaning. I'm not talking about anyone in the center. I'm not even talking about some of the right-leaning people. I am specifically talking about the MAGA support base. I believe from the polls that we're seeing and what's going on in the world and just general updates from people who I know voted for Trump, the combination of the complete fumbling of the Epstein files and kind of going back on the campaign promises of no new wars, I believe that is a 1-2 combo punch that is legitimately fracturing the MAGA support base. And I get it. There's going to be people, Matt, you have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not here saying it's good or bad. I'm like literally looking at basic statistics that he ran on exposing all the Epstein files. He ran on no new wars. And guess what? We have new wars and we still don't have the Epstein files. I believe those are two very, very big things that his core support base is starting to reasonably say, what the fuck, dude? This is not what we voted for. So I believe there is a rising sentiment of feeling as if the people who voted for him, not all of them, but I believe there's a measurable chunk of people who voted for Trump who are starting to feel as if they were stabbed in the back. They're like, all right, man, we gave you a second shot. Come on, deliver on your campaign promises, or at least don't do the complete opposite of your campaign promises. And here we are. Now, obviously, there is time for things to switch up. Like, I'm not saying that this is a done deal at this point, But I fully understand why the polls are starting to show that even internally to the Republican Party, there are people who are very, very pissed off. And it makes sense that the polls are starting to show the Democrats are gaining a lot of steam, not a little bit of steam, but quite a bit of momentum heading into these midterm elections. You're wrong about MAGA. The polls show that they're supportive by high margins. Yeah, the one poll done by Fox. Come on, Strawberry Blonde. I know you were born at night, but I didn't know you were born last night. You're believing the one poll while all the other polls, all the sentiment on Twitter, all the sentiment on Reddit, really? You're looking at the one poll that intentionally skews numbers? You're fucking crazy, dude. That's you're way, way too close to your own cult. You are like, if you believe that, if you deeply believe the one fucking poll that's like, yeah, dude, we all love what's going on. It's so stupid. If you really believe what the approval rating or whatever it was 100%, you're fucking blind. Like, literally go talk to anyone. No, there are no polls. This is X and not real life. Yeah. I mean, if you have to be a special type of stupid if you think the approval rating is 100%. Like, literally, look at the chat above you. You are surrounded by people who probably voted the same way as you, and even people in here are saying, yeah, I'm not so happy anymore. Okay, it's a CNN poll. I don't give a shit. All the polls are stupid because they don't understand basic statistics. Like, don't trust any of these polls. But you have to be a special type of dumb to think 100% is even possible. Like, you have to be a really, really special type of stupid to think that at any point in the modern world, no less modern America, you could possibly find 100% agreement. You can't even find 90% agreement. Like, what are you talking about? That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane if you think that is possible in any sense of the word. Any sense of the world. This is very poor polling and statistical. Now, there is very poor polling and statistical. Yeah, like we're seeing that with the 100% approval one. Like, clearly, I fully agree. It is. I mean, this is why polls so commonly get the elections wrong, because they don't know what they're doing. Trump tells aides he wants a speedy end to the Iran war. I saw this headline and I got really, really confused, because doesn't the buck stop with him? Doesn't he, at this point, being, the commander in chief, doesn't he have the sole decision here on if it can stop or not? Like, he is literally the commander in chief. And I feel like it's kind of up to him if he wants a speedy end. President said he wants to wrap up the conflict in coming weeks. We were told weeks ago that it would be over, and then here we are. Yeah, you're lost, man. Goodbye. That's right. You could go fuck off. Generally, there's like a minimum IQ requirement to be in this show, so I find that it's very rapidly self-selecting for people who are so incredibly like balls deep in their own bias and their own cult that they can't just like objectively see the world around them. But hey, yeah, if you want to think that Trump has 100% approval rating, I mean, congrats. I don't know what to tell you. You're just fucking stupid. You're just stupid. We love you, Strawberry. Matt's on a rant. I mean, I have no personal qualms with Strawberry whatsoever, but I'm just saying you're fucking stupid to think that 100% approval is possible. Like, you are just so deeply entrenched in your tribe that you cannot possibly comprehend reality at all. Like, I actually feel bad, and this happens on the extreme left and on the extreme right, to not be able to like at all appreciate actual reality, like true reality. Attacking someone with personal insults isn't a real winning strategy. I don't think that's a personal insult. I think that's just actually a measure of what's going on. How is it a personal insult for me to just say something factual? You are fucking stupid if you think a 100% approval rating is possible. If you believe that poll, you are fucking dumb. That's not a personal attack. That's just like fact, dude. That's all right. That's not a commentary on the morality of the person. It's just saying, hey, maybe you're biased, like you're a little bit too deep in it, and maybe you need to take a step out. Like that's like, I mean, I'm not going to wish anyone ill will or something like that. Like I have no personal, like as a human, I have no issues with it. Like we're just, it's as similar as saying, if you come up and say the sun is cold, I'm like, well, that's a stupid thought to have. Like you are dumb for saying that. That doesn't mean like I like wish ill will on you. It's just like there are some things that are like we find from empirical measures. They are based in reality. They are based in science. They are something we can actually measure. And sometimes people say dumb shit against it. Like the flat is Earth. If you believe the flat is Earth, you're a dumb person. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're a dumb person. And it's not my fault. I wasn't your mom drinking when you were pregnant. I wasn't your dad. I didn't drop you on your head when you were an infant. Like that wasn't me. Don't come at me about it. I'm just saying, especially when we're trying to objectively look at this through the lens of the economy and the stock market. Honestly, if you want to have an extreme bias in politics, I really don't care. If you want to be that spun up that your side is 100% right and the other side is 100% wrong and you're on the good side and they're on the evil side, I don't care. Whatever fucking rocks your socks off, brother. But it is very, very dangerous to carry that exact same mindset into the world of active trading, which is what we're here for. So as much as it might seem aggressive and much as it might seem meme, well, first of all, that's really, really funny because isn't it the right-leaning side, the MAGA supporters who are saying, oh, no, like facts don't care about your feelings. And then yet right now you guys are like actively getting spun up about your feelings. I find it uniquely funny that one particular party, one particular subgroup within a party could be so quick to jump and be like, facts don't care about your feelings. Sometimes this world's a rough and tough place and you just got to accept it for how it is and, MAGA. And then yet right here, you guys are mad. You're like, you're attacking me. That's not nice. Oh, what about my, like, you notice how if you're attacking someone, you're trying to say that like, if they're getting into their feelings, they're kind of a pussy. But then the first thing that you do is like, oh, you hurt my feelings. Like that doesn't really make sense, does it? Does it? Ask yourself. So tying this back to the more important part, whether it is what's going on with Trump or Israel, these biases, if you're going to have them in the world of the government and who you voted for, that is fine. But please leave it at the door for trading because the market is going to be the first thing that like very, very rapidly humbles you. So whether you have a strong opinion, positive or negative of how this is going to go, don't just directly apply that to the market because your bias could very easily be wrong. So I think this is actually a massively important part. Every single presidential election cycle, it happens all the time. There is the winner and then there's a loser. Generally, the people who are upset about the winner, they think that it's going to crash the stock market. They think that it's going to crash the economy and people pull out. They're like, no, I just don't want to be involved in this. And then guess what? Whether you look at, no matter what you look at it, Democrat or Republican, the market is always going to go up. And obviously, I'm using a longer term investment example than actual short term trading. But my point is still valid in the fact that people have this political dogma that they feel like they have to back up all the time. And if you want to back it up, do it. But just don't let it get in the way of you making money. And definitely don't let it like prompt you to actually lose money. And that's a better point for what's happening here in the short term. Was if you are the person who is so susceptible to get into your own bias and not to be able to consider other thoughts and opinions, once again, if you want to do that in politics, I don't really give a shit. But when you do that in the market, if you're still so strongly tied to your bias and you can't admit when you're wrong and you can't just like be like, all right, yeah, I kind of got this one wrong. Well, that like directly leads to you losing money. One of the best skill sets you can have, especially in the world of active trading, it's just to be able to be like, yep, I got this one wrong. And it's very rare to find a person who is so 100% sure they are right about politics and then yet when it comes to the world of trading, that they're like more than willing to admit they're wrong when they're actually wrong. And then you guys might be looking at this through the lens of like, but Matt, you're trying to sell us that you're always right about politics. No, the one thing I actively know about politics is that I don't know shit about politics, and I'm commonly wrong. And the one thing that I'm like really, really confident is whether left or right, they are 100% lying to us all of the time. If you believe that there's any politician ever who is this moral beacon character and is always telling us the truth and is always doing exactly what they should be doing for us, well, I have a bridge to sell you. All right, very quickly, let me switch over to this. Dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. As you can see in this casino day, we are opening up pretty weak. There's a gap down of about 0.8% in the S&P 500, 1% in the NASDAQ, 1% in the Russell, and almost 3% in Bitcoin. Yes, there is an upside gap fill in the S&P 500. You could also see it in the NASDAQ, and you could also see it in the Russell. So all three of the major indices, at least that we pay attention to on this show, all of them have very, very evident upside gap fills because of how weak things have been. Obviously, this is all because of the continuing tensions and lack of faith of, I suppose, this ever getting resolved. The narrow path to a U.S.-Iran deal, both sides will have to scale back demands, but their history points to a way to get it done. So we have our points of, I guess, compromise that we want. They have theirs. And right now, it seems like talks are not going anywhere. But we're also seemingly getting massive, massive updates every single weekend. So literally, they might just be waiting for market close on Friday. And then before you know it, things could either get a lot better or get a lot worse over the weekend. So please keep that in mind. Trump says Iranian negotiators better get serious soon before it's too late. U.S. President Donald Trump last night, or actually this morning, said, get serious soon about a peace deal with Washington or face consequences. They better get serious soon before it is too late, because once that happens, there is no turning back and it won't be pretty. This was all on Truth Social. The comments come amid ongoing confusion whether the U.S. and Iran have held negotiations over ending the war. Trump keeps saying that we have that they're ongoing and the talks are going well with Kushner and Witkoff, and then the state media of Iran is basically saying, hey, we're not talking at all. So we're going to be finding out. And it seems like whenever we find anything out, sometimes within minutes, sometimes within hours, it is just completely reverted. So be ready for that. It feels as if we're going to have a little bit of a crazy day, and pretty much every day recently has been a bit crazy. All right. Let me get the options flow up for you. I'm doing my best to not really do anything too crazy early in the session, just because of how much, I guess, whipsaw and changes and that type of stuff we've been seeing. I did trade before the market opened. I just saw a good opportunity here. Thus far, well, we were going up, and the S&P 500 just took a hit. For those of you who are curious, these are all my key levels on the S&P 500 today. I do want to remind you that right here, I somehow deleted it. Let me actually change this. We'll make this one a random pink one, and then the coordinates are 7.5. So we rarely have this up, which is why I guess, wait, why is that not showing? Oh, it's a little light. But anyway, let me switch myself over here. This pink line at 6475, once again, that is in play today. That is the put side of JP Morgan's collar position. If you don't know what a collar position is, it means when you're long the underlying, in this case, the S&P 500, you sell calls, and that's a covered call position, and then you turn it into a collar by using the premium you gain from selling the calls, and you buy puts, or you get into a put debit spread. And that's exactly what they did. So the put side of this collar is structured at 6475. It is downside protection. That's basically a freebie downside protection from all the calls that were sold. So this is clearly in play, and it's going to be in play all the way up until Tuesday of next week. It expires at the end of the month, not the final options month, but the actual last day based on the Gregorian calendar. So Tuesday, March the 31st. So next Tuesday, or I should say this upcoming Tuesday. So this, in the meantime, is worthwhile to mark out on your chart. it kind of only comes into play 4 times a year because they structure it every single quarter. So we kind of rarely talk about it, but this is one of those circumstances where clearly it has quite a bit of gamma influence. Obviously, a lot of people like myself are talking about it. It has a big implication on what the market makers should be doing, shouldn't be doing. So it is something that I would say not only for today, but literally up until Tuesday of next week, pay attention to. And then the other thing to pay attention to on Tuesday of next week is where they roll it to. So they're going to be rolling this position, and obviously it's going to be useful to, in real time, not only pay attention to the roll, because as they're changing it, there could be a big impact in price throughout the day. Like we see a lot of whipsaw on those days. And then from there, obviously, just kind of understanding where the new strikes are, because they're going to be pretty freaking important. So anyway, just wanted to call that out. Obviously, the other unique thing of today is this upside gap fill. Once again, 6568 if you're trading the S&P 500. And if you want to know where it is on the SPY and the Qs, you just have to look at the low value of the daily chart from yesterday for regular trading hours. Oil is climbing higher and higher and higher. It's currently at 94. Bitcoin's going lower, and the market is currently taking a little bit of a hit. The Mag 7 options in real time are taking a hit. Holy cow, brother. Holy cow. As you can see, I was already trading a little bit this morning. I locked in my 250 on Lucid. I locked in the exact value I needed to get another payout on FFN. These 7 PVs, those are the funded accounts from Funded Futures Network. I got the exact values I needed to lock in another 2K from each of these. So I got another $10,000 payout just requested before the market opened. On Tradeify, I hit the goal I needed, $9,000 of profit. Started at 150K, so 9K, 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 9K. So I'm done there. So really, the only other accounts where it's like somewhat of an advantage for me to potentially trade today are these 3 take profits and these 3 legends. So really, I already hit what I needed to on the day. So the only other ones where I'm not necessarily capped is the take profits and the legends. So if I choose to continue to trade today, which I might, I see some interesting opportunities here, I might just trade on these TPTs and these legends. So at most, I'm only trading on these bottom 6 accounts. So done with Lucid for the day, done with FFN, done with Tradeify. Hang on, what's the flow looking like? It's 6 minutes into the day. It's getting hit. But what about the upside gap fill is something that really needs to be considered here. I don't necessarily just want to like rip a short position knowing that there's going to be people targeting the upside gap fill. I don't want to just rip a short position. I think patient. Bitcoin just caught a bid. Oil. Yeah, it's a little too choppy out of the gate. So just waiting. 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 What time is it? Hang on one quick second. Hang on. Let me update one thing over here. Okay, let's get some music going. I'm trying to do my best to not rush a trade. I feel like recently my entries haven't been the best, and I feel like I just need to either I'm a little too late or I'm a little too early. I don't feel like I've been in that sweet spot that I'm really the most happy with. So let's just wait. And also, not that it's promised today, but recently we've been seeing a lot of those 10 a.m. reversals. So I just want to call that out, especially if we're trading down right now. There could be the old 10 a.m. reversal that sets up the upside gap fill. Is it a guarantee? No, but just something I want to call out to all of you. And let's, let's listen to the Red Candle Club to get us going today. All right. What are we seeing today? Mag 7 still getting hit. Wow. NASDAQ getting hit. Oh, Mag 7 looking weak. We're still kind of consolidating. We dropped a little bit, but kind of flat. But then the Qs, the question is, which way? Options flow not looking the best. 5-minute momentum is bearish. 10-minute momentum is bearish. 30-minute momentum is bearish.
Order filled.
All right. All of momentum is bearish over here. NASDAQ 5-minute is bearish. 10-minute is bearish. Where is this overnight low? The overnight low was misdrawn. All right, we just took out the overnight low. A little bit of a reaction there, not the end of the world. Okay, so if we had to draw out some of the key levels, I would actually say all the way down here. So yeah, watch 24,000 flat. If you're watching NQ, obviously this is just a key technical, psychological level, 24,000 flat. All right, let's see what we have today. So initially, we are seeing a pretty clear reaction at the overnight low. Buyers are stepping in right there. Overnight low was made at 8:35 this morning, and we just bounced right there. Let's see. I did take a short position, by the way. And I'm break even right now. But I'm looking at the options flow. I'm trying to get in and out before that potential 10 a.m. reversal, to be completely honest. I'm like, okay, if I could catch a flush of like 100 points now and just be done before it gets rocking, feels like it might be a good day. Oh, okay. Where's my 1 minute chart? Here we go. I tried to play this breakdown. Honestly, it worked for a second. I was up 20 points. Hoping it gets rejected at VWAP, the 50% retrace. Whoa, kitty. This cat's fast. Comes out of nowhere. This cat's fast. Piper, we're trading today. Like I said, I'm only trading these bottom 6 accounts, the 3 take profits and the 3 legends. Yes, they are all funded. It's just I've already hit my goals on all these other ones. I'm already done with Lucid. I'm already done with FFN. I've already passed these Tradeifys. There's just no advantage to me trading any of those anymore. So the ones where it's still reasonable, like upside for me, like as in if I do well, cool, that's worth it, is the 3 take profits and the 3 legends, which is why I am trading those right now. Obviously, I was doing a little bit of pre-market trading. Got lucky, got on the right side of some of these movements. This trend isn't looking so good. What time is it? 9:42. So we hit that. Let's see. I need a little bit of a rejection here. All right, we're at that 50% retracement, and I need VWAPs. Okay, let me get this. Just as a quick reminder, the orange line is the regular trading hours VWAP, and the white line is the session. So basically anchored VWAP versus session VWAP. I find that sometimes like when one is very, very far away, just doesn't really have the most influence. But then when you have one like this one that's a lot closer, it might be acting as a point of equilibrium, a point of like larger player reaction. So kind of interesting to watch it. And this time around is at 104 and you have the psychological level at 100. So definitely paying attention to it. We don't need that one. Actually, I want to know if we come back. We're ripping right up. So we're full tripping the 10-minute Orbo. Yeah. So we broke down on the 10-minute Orbo in the very first minute we could, the 11th trading minute of the day, right here where I got in, and now we're full tripping it. I've been watching this dude with YouTube's industrial electric parts for silver. Interesting. Feels like it's a lot of effort though, especially what happens if commodity prices just completely plummet because it's like a FOMO pump and dump. Okay, the IB high, that's 160. They might be targeting 160. Then there's the session VWAP is all the way up here at 200. Probably should have gotten the fuck out of this trade. Just went slightly red on the day. Like I said, I had a pretty good morning session, so I was kind of playing with the house's money. Now I'm slightly red, but let's see how this one plays out. Does not feel the best at the moment. Damn, I should have... It happened so quick in that first minute, that breakdown right at, I guess, 9:39. It happened so incredibly quickly that in hindsight, I should have taken my profits at the overnight session low. That is commonly, especially for the opening session, commonly a reaction level. So what was it, 69? We overshot it down to 63. If I was quick, I would have taken off right at that overnight low. And then obviously if I had multiple contracts, like the other one would have been set to break even, and then I would have tried to ride the trend. And obviously in this case, it would have been knocked out for break even. But in hindsight, that was probably a higher quality way to play the situation. Wow, we are going right up to this VWAP at 206. We are ripping right up to it. What time is it? It's 9:45. So 10-minute Orbo, 200.
Order submitted.
All right, let's see if this actually gets a fill. I'm not buying this bullishness whatsoever. I understand that there's the upside gap fill, but even if filled, I don't think it'll last that long. What did we just get to? We got to 62. The upside gap fill is 68. The upside gap fill is 68. How much drawdown do I have? I have like 4,000 of drawdown to play with today. All right, let's see. Maybe I shouldn't do it at 200. Maybe I should throw it in at 206, like right at VWAP. Or maybe it doesn't even get up there. Maybe an overshoot. Maybe something like 220 would be better. And then I guess if it starts to get rejected there, I could always just throw it on myself. We'll see how this one plays out. Keep the faith. Oh, no. I feel pretty confident in my bearish opinion on this, just because all the momentum's still bearish. Now, obviously, if it's switch bullish, I'm going to get out. I want to be clear on that. I'm not married to this. It's just right now, looking at the options positioning, looking at momentum, it is still all bearish. If it starts to switch bullish, okay, that's a completely different scenario then. But for right now, the way I view the market, and I'm not saying that this is perfect, I'm just saying my framework for trading, the way I view the market, I'm happy to be bearish in this scenario. And it's more of a reading of, once again, options flow and momentum. If options flow and momentum switch bullish, guess what? I'm going to switch bullish. I don't necessarily have to be bearish today. It's just what I'm reading. Once again, putting together options flow, putting together momentum. In fact, the only thing I see going on that actually favors the bulls is the 1 minute momentum has now switched bullish, but that makes sense if they're targeting VWAP, and it makes sense if they're targeting the upside gap fill. But they would need quite a bit of follow through in this scenario. To get the momentum to like legitimately switch. We'll see. Just patience. I'm literally waiting for this upside gap fill. I'm seeing if this can get faded. Now, I have I'm not trying to predict that it gets rejected here. I just like the risk reward of it. Now, obviously, if it keeps going, guess what? I just get out. But right here, if we hit this upside gap fill, I give it a 50-50 shot. That's my prediction on 50% chance we keep going and maybe we hit 580, 50% chance that we get rejected. So I'm fully like, those are my odds. Like, that's what I think can really be happening here. But I just like the risk reward of it, where if it keeps going, I have a small loss. And then if it gets rejected, I get to ride it all the way back down. So I'm not trying to present this opportunity as like, no, I guarantee it happens. I'm just saying in the 50% chance that it does happen, the risk reward is pretty asymmetric. So I think that's like an important clarification. an important clarification. Where do I see here? Hang on. Thick thoughts. Very much a we haven't quite gotten the upside gap fill yet. I'll set an alert there just so we know. But once again, SPX is 6568.41. If you're looking at it on SPY, it is 654.24. And if you are looking on the Qs, it is actually quite a bit higher. It's $2.5 higher up here at 585.69. So the Qs have the most distance to go right now. Oil is taking a little bit of a hit. Bitcoin's starting to turn now, though. But oil coming down, I mean, right now it's a pretty good inverse correlation. But if you are playing the upside gap fill, I mean, we are very close to getting the fill, but that's probably pretty frustrating because we got absurdly close at 948, and there was just no follow-through. No follow-through. Patience, 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 patience. Question for all of you. As much as I think it's a 50-50 chance that we either go higher or lower after the gap fill, how are you guys feeling at that point? Are you thinking that we actually continue higher and maybe make the trip up to the start of the transition zone? Maybe we go for the red to green test? Or do you think that it's going to be smacked here and get rejected right back down? Like I said, in my mind, it's a 50-50 shot, but I'm just curious if you guys have a bias one way or the other. And I guess I'm a little bit curious about maybe why you have that bias, like what's backing up your reasoning for that. Higher and lower at the same time. Getting smacked, reject, higher, taking out the London high. It's going to move right. 51.49 higher. You're giving yourself a 1% edge. Well, we're about to find out because we are hitting the upside gap fill right now, and we are at VWAP right now. I had an overshoot target just in case there's like a weird little pop, and obviously that would help my average quite a bit. But for this particular contract, I'm going to be trading these contracts independently. So I'm going to remember that this one's in at 84. I'm going to be remembering that this one's in at 220. So I'm going to be trading them separately. And on this second... Ooh, I didn't get the fill. Fuck. No. Dude, if this just falls from here and I was that close to getting my fill... Oh, brother. What time is it? 9:52. Well, this time the 10 a.m. reversal might be to the downside because we've been pumping a bit here. Dude, if it vomits from here... you can be critical of Trump and still think the other side is batshit crazy. Oh, that's completely acceptable. It's very fair to say that Trump's made poor decisions, but still think he was our better option relative to the Harris and the Harris campaign. Like, that's allowed. Oh, I cannot believe that. Off by 1.75 points. I'm still going to give it a shot here. I'm not going to chase it quite yet because I'm not seeing enough weakness. NASDAQ actually popped. Here's a look at the MAG 7. Here's a look at the MAG 7. Here's a look at the S&P 500.
Order filled.
All right. So, to, I guess, like, verbally explain here what's going on. I care whatever the height of this current pop is. I care a lot about that because obviously that's what I'm going to be anchoring quite a bit of my risk to, especially on this second contract. I know this is a little bit more of maybe a confusing technique, but I am trading these two contracts independently, which is why I marked them out on my screen. I know it gives you the average value, and I guess I could utilize that if I want, but really what I care about is this breakdown of 184, the recent low, because right now we have higher highs and higher lows on the short time frame, but overall momentum is still bearish. So what I'm looking for is for this shorter time frame momentum to snap back in favor with the higher time frame, more of the medium time frame in all reality. But I kind of want to see this VWAP retest, and if it keeps going, I just have to cut bait and admit I'm wrong. But right now, still trading with overall trend. Obviously, it's not looking good right now, but in all reality, I'm actually pretty comfortable. I guess if I wanted to, I don't have to trade them independently. I guess that's up to you. Obviously, it gives you the average value. If I want to cut my risk in half, I could literally just dump one right here, and that's a break-even trade. And then I just have to keep in my mind that I actually didn't get the fill at 220, but I'm actually basing it off of 52. That's fair. That's just more of a charting platform thing of how they do it. But what matters to me most right now is actually snapping VWAP. If we hold above VWAP, I'm screwed. I need this to break down because that's basically the rejection level, which kind of goes in line. Hang on. This isn't our song, so I'm going to get in trouble with the MCA. But this is what I'm watching, this white dash line, and it also happens to align with the $100 value of 200. So this is a very important region to me. Obviously, I took the short here at 220. I probably should have got out of this one. I already explained this one, that I was way too slow to react. The dump happened so quickly. I was targeting the overnight low. It just hit it and then bounced so quickly that I didn't really have an opportunity to react to it. Obviously, I wish I got out at break even, because then I could have just taken this trade at 220 and I already be up 20 points, stop at break even, and it would be a freebie play. So another day and another example of how my entries are just like, not really my reaction time to these entries and some of these fast moves. It's something I want to improve on for sure. Something I very much want to improve on. Why is okay, there's the VWAP. I need this to break, and I need this to break like now. I want it. What was this one? So the recent low is 195, but I care about this low here at 953. At 184, and it's getting to that time in the day where I'm putting two concepts together. I'm putting together the concept of the VWAP rejection in favor with the medium time frame momentum, and at this point in the day, I'm putting together the concept of the 10 a.m. reversal. It is 9:57, 9:58. It's not an end all be all. Like, I don't want you guys to think, oh, every single day at 10 a.m. just reverse price action. It seemingly happens about 3 out of every 5 days right now. But even that, those odds do seemingly change. All right. What would be the smart risk management thing here? Probably to cut my risk in half by seeing...
Order submitted.
Oh, locking this one in. I should probably... I need this breakdown here. Right here. I'm watching this swing low at 953. If you had fair value gaps, if only, dude, if only I had fair value gaps and trend lines, this would never happen to me. This would never, ever happen to me. If only. If only, if only. I'm wondering if 145 is a bit aggressive. I wonder if I should just do it right at 150. Is my cat screaming? Piper? I think this is going to legitimately break down, but just in case I'm wrong, because remember, I'm wrong half the time, I am cutting my risk in half by dumping it at 150. Or I'm attempting to, at least. Come on, brother.
Order filled.
All right. So remember, my average is actually 152. So I know it shows it like this because they do first in, first out. So I just want to be clear. I want to be transparent here. It's because I dumped one of two. I was in one at 180, the other one at 220. So the average is 150. So it shows that I'm up quite a bit. And this is honestly, this is exactly why I got out, because look at, we are reacting to VWAP right here. We are just ping-ponging in between the two VWAPs. So, I mean, I could have been really conservative and gotten out of both and then just kind of reestablished it to see if I'm on the right side of trend. Obviously, in retrospect, I kind of wish I did, because I could have gotten out both there. I could have reshorted here and I would have been all hunky-dory, but I at least met myself in the middle by cutting the risk in half when I had the opportunity to do so. So that's a bit of a bummer. Really, really strong reaction to the anchored VWAP right there. Actually, a massive reaction. I mean, actually, what the fuck's happening? Is there an announcement? Someone said Trump speaking. Can I get a link for that? Can I get a link for that, someone? News. Senior Iranian official, Iran has reviewed U.S. proposal that has been conveyed to Iran via Pakistan. So I guess that pump is literally just that they have reviewed it. Interesting. Could be a little double top. Or it could be the signal for me to get the fuck out. So really, really happy. You never know when random news is going to hit. Never, ever know. So I thought it was prudent of me to cut my risk in half when I had the opportunity, which is exactly what I did. Matt, can you give an opinion on the Revolution reevaluation of Go? Seeing a lot of talk on feeds, wondering what it would do for traders and the economy. Well, are you investing in it or trading it? If you're trading it, don't worry about any of the larger economic talk. Literally just trade the trend. If you're investing in it, I mean, I think it's good to be 5-10% of your long-term investment portfolio, but don't conflate investing and trading. Trading, like that bias of news and politics and war, is not good. Trade the trend. If the trend is bullish, be bullish. If the trend is bearish, be bearish. As a long-term investment, that's when you need to consider some of these other external forces. Oh, I don't have the best feeling about this one right now. I need this to, like, once again, aggressively fail, like right here. This is all seemingly news related. Iran's assessment is that the one-sided and unfair, serving only the U.S. and Israel interests. Iran's initial response, which was also conveyed to Pakistan, was that the proposal lacks the minimum requirements for success. There's still no arrangement for negotiations and no plan for talks appear realistic at this stage. Turkey and Pakistan are trying to help establish common ground between Iran and the U.S. Diplomacy has not stopped, and if realism prevails in Washington, a path forward may still be found. This is all from a senior Iranian official. None of that actually sounds good to me. I'm actually surprised that it caused this pop. But it might just be a pop right back to the initial balance high and VWAP and a failure, which is obviously what I will be paying very close attention to. So I am passing my take profit test account. I could do scratch trade even though I'm $6 above the profit goal. Yeah, but just be careful to not go below, and don't forget to think about commissions. Because if you have a losing trade, or if the commissions add up too much, that might knock you down below. So you might want to trade like a micro. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, mother. Oh, brother. All right. What's the community's best guess? VWAP bounce or VWAP failure? VWAP is 203. What is everyone's best freaking guess? Best guesses only. No bad guesses allowed. Best guess right now, VWAP bounce or VWAP failure? Bounce, fail, playing the fail, down hard, fail, fail. Whoa, well, there was a bounce. Thus far, I'm not saying we've actually bounced yet. I'm just watching this overall structure. I mean, this is obviously, look at bounce, 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 bounce. So time will tell. They seemingly intentionally swept that low just barely at 97 to get people locked in. Brutal game out there today. A sweep failure? Well, thus far, that's what we had. We swept it, they bounced, but also sometimes we've seen this double situation where they sweep this low, they sweep this high, and then they go in the first direction anyway after freaking everyone out. There was just like a lot of sitting buy orders there. That's why this happens, is people have the buy orders right below the low, and that's why you go right below, and then it bounces pretty hard. But we are not out of the woods yet, team. We are not out of the woods yet. So looks like the drop in the pop was Iranian state media. Jesus. All right.
Order
I'm
filled. Order submitted.
Would love to scalp out one at 55 here. Just got in at 88. That's a 30-point trade. That's $600. The other entry was here at 220. I could leave that stop at break even. My fill is right above VWAP. So like I said, I'm playing a 50-50 game here. That is pretty much all of trading. Active trading in the short term. I get that people tell you they could sell you a magical, mystical model that's right 85, 90, 95% of the time. But all realistic traders understand that short-term trading, day trading, scalp trading, well, day trading, scalp trading is a little different. Day trading is a 50-50 game. You can win a 50-50 game. I know at first that sounds counterintuitive, but really think about the math of it. If we're playing a game of quarters, and every time it hits heads, I pay you $2. Every time it hits tails, you pay me $1. Well, yeah, of course you're going to want to play that game because you're going to be net ahead. So because I'm saying this game is a 50-50 game, don't let that freak you out. Don't let that freak you out whatsoever because you still have positive expected value. It's all gambling. You know, I always think that's a really weak argument. Like, what isn't gambling? Going to college is a gamble. Getting your job is a gamble. Getting married is a gamble. Having a kid is a gamble. I don't understand that when people like to say, but it's still gambling. What isn't gambling then by that definition? There is a perception of risk. There's a perception of reward. There's potential risk. There's potential reward. You're accepting the potential risk to ideally get the potential reward. I think people like to say that it's still a gamble. Like, what isn't that? Like, welcome to fucking life. That's not my argument. I know that's not your argument. I was saying I took your statement and I took it to the next level. Not liking this failed breakdown here at 180. The amount of times it was testing 200 and it snapped below, that's why I was interested in getting in. I need this to fail and to fail like actually pretty fucking quickly. Are we going for the upside? We already got the upside gap fill on the S&P 500. Ooh, the SPY just popped out of nowhere. Mag 7. Ooh. All right. I can't give this much more room. I need this to like actually fail here at VWAP, or your boy has to just admit he was wrong and get out, because I don't want to get caught up in some gigantic trend reversal. Generally, markets don't, like, most of the time you persist with whatever your current trend is, but obviously that doesn't mean 100% of the time. All right, Trump holds a live cabinet meeting. This is what I'm getting caught up in right now. I kind of wish I wasn't, but Trump's chit-chatting, or it's about to get going here. I'll turn the volume up. We're not going to miss it. But this is probably why the market's being a little erratic in all directions, is because traders are betting on either what he's going to say or what he's not going to say. All right. 5-minute momentum is bullish. 10-minute is trying to go bullish. 30-minute is still bearish. Be very careful about just ripping it bullish right now. The 30-minute has not gone bullish. The 4-hour has not gone bullish. Looking at the NASDAQ, yes, the 5 minutes bullish. The 10-minute, not even really that convincingly. 30-minute is still bearish. 4-hour is still bearish. Don't get faked out. Yes, I admit the trend can change, but it has to put in some serious work to actually go legitimately bullish on a day trading perspective. So please just don't get faked out. And look at that. AMC squeeze incoming. Oh yeah, I think it's scheduled for tomorrow. Did you guys hear that as well? Yeah. I heard I heard tomorrow. I was talking to my friends in the dark pools. I was talking to my market maker buddies at Citadel. I think it's scheduled for Friday, March the 27th. Is that what you guys heard? I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. Yeah, something about the naked forks at 4 p.m. PM. I heard April 1st. No, April 1st. Another strong date. That's the next squeeze. They're actually going to squeeze it twice. The bigger squeeze is going to be April 1st. Oh, we don't need these silly trend lines. We just need all the fair value gaps, folks. Already all in, won't miss this one. That's the smartest way to play it. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be... some say the financial sector, it's going to be so big that the entire financial sector won't even be able to handle it. That's what I'm hearing. All right, stay below VWAP. VWAP is this white dash line 204, and then anchored VWAP is 160. I'm targeting the 50% of the initial balance. That is, so you have the red dash line on top, the red dash line on the bottom. That is the current intraday session high and low. And then the blue dash line is that 50% level. It's the halfway mark, another very common level. I'm seeing that that's aligned with the anchored VWAP. So I think it's a reasonable point for me to scale out one of my two contracts. And then obviously I hope that it hits. I can put my stop to break even, and then maybe the trend will persist. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's obviously been quite a bit of a crazy day thus far. And Trump's about to talk, so who knows? He could say something good. He could say something bad. Right now, as much as I try to remind everyone, this game is a 50-50 game. It's more 50-50 than it's ever been. Come on, brother. Give me that money. Go, go, go. Please go. Please. If I say please, will you do it? If I say please, pretty please, will you do it? If I say pretty please, will it happen? So I guess putting together the VWAP rejection with the 10 a.m. reversal, it worked today. Is that going to work every day? I don't know, but it does seem as if it would be a net positive strategy. It's not something that can occur all the time because you would basically need to be at VWAP roughly around 10 a.m. But something to consider. Something to consider. Come on. I'm watching... like you could see that I am short too. My fill is right above VWAP, right above 2, and it's ripping into my face. I have a feeling that we're going to get 50 point plus movements like it's nothing. I was just hoping that one of those movements would be to my fill so I could get that stop to break even. We seemingly found support at 68 and right back to VWAP. Fuck. That doesn't necessarily warm the cockles of my heart. Shit. All right. Come on. One final kiss of VWAP for a vomit. Am I right, folks? Just one little final kiss of VWAP and a vomit. One little smooch and a vomit. Come on. Where's that vomit? Where's that little vomit we were promised? But all my trend lines promised me. I was promised. I was promised a vomit, right? The trend lines, but the trend line said it. It has to happen, right? The trend line overlords. Iran's parliament speaker, Hezbollah, the pride of Islam, and known that a stockpile of surprises is coming your way, so wait for it. What the fuck? So Iran's parliament speaker is saying that they're sending a surprise to Hezbollah, aka the pride of Islam? What? This hit the trend line 3 times. No way it could lose. Oh, yeah. I think it's actually illegal for it to lose. Fuck. I think it's illegal for it to lose. Well, that was a random level for it to bounce off of. 68. It was probably a fair value gap that we just missed in our analysis. Adam Aaron just announced the shorts are effed and they need to get ready to choke on that. Dude, he is the biggest fucking dweeb. That guy should be in prison. He's a pedophile. An alleged pedophile. I don't need fucking AMC suing me. But also, he was getting catfished by a person he thought was underage. So that feels pretty pedophilic in my book. But hey, I'm just a man with an opinion. Dude, I need this to get rejected. I need it to break below 81. I need it to break, just to take out these recent lows and not the recent highs like it's doing. Shit. What range we have. In reality, we're just getting pinned to VWAP. I would assume it's because the market's waiting to see what Trump has to say. So there's really no point in deviating too far from equilibrium as we're like on the precipice of a key announcement. I was just hoping I could get away with a cheeky little fill there at 52, lock that in, go net profitable, stop at break even. Yes, it would have been probably knocked out by now, but hey, whatever. I would have been good before he gets going. So, yeah, whatever. Shit happens. Shit happens. Oh, just be careful here. The momentum is still more so favoring the bears than the bulls. Of course, it can change. Just because I'm saying that now at 10:15 doesn't mean it's not allowed. Well, someone's trading on something here. What the hell is happening? Someone's doing something. And I want to know what they are doing. Hey, Kitty, Piper, come help us out. Still waiting on Trump. I guess Trump holds a live cabinet meeting. So I believe, and this is just me guessing, but I believe that's why we're probably seeing a bit of this just like big range choppiness in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ right now as people are swinging it above and below equilibrium points as we're waiting to see what Trump either does or doesn't have to say. Just so you know, if you're trading NQ, there's a lot of sellers at 235. Just want to throw that out there. 235. Whoa, that looks ugly. The SPY intraday, higher highs and higher lows. We did get this upside gap fill. Obviously, a very important trend line to be paying attention to is this one on the screen. If it holds, yeah, the bulls in the very short term are in control once again on the 1 minute chart. If it breaks, that means it's legitimately bearish because the short term bullishness is reverting back in favor of the medium term and the longer term bearishness right now. So I would say watching this trend line and especially watching the low. What low is this? I would say this would be a legitimate breakdown, taking out this 959 low. So I don't know if it will happen. I'm just saying from a technical perspective, and from an order flow perspective, that means we failed at both VWAPs and probably dramatically increases the statistical chance of us revisiting the intraday low, which is all the way down here. But you never know. Maybe they want to clean up the chart. Maybe there's enough traders betting on the upside gap fill on the Qs. We got the upside gap fill on the NASDAQ. We have yet to do that we did it on the S&P 500. We have yet to do that on the NASDAQ. Oil's still coming down. Obviously, inverse correlation with the equities market. Bitcoin's just kind of chilling. Apple's up 1%. Apple's having a really good day. That's probably helping the NASDAQ and the SPY. Look at Apple. That's ripping. Anyone playing Apple right now? Apple's having a really good day. Matt, does it look like the Dow Jones index just broke out? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why anyone trades the Dow. It is like the most boring index. And I see that CNBC like continually cites the Dow points. And I think it's just because they know they have a bunch of boomers watching it. But who the fuck trades the Dow? Like at all? Like my mind is blown every single time a legitimate publication cites what's happening with the Dow. Like only boomers pay attention to the Dow. It's the boomer index. Okay. Cheddar Flow is saying the SPY will flush if we lose this level 650. So they're saying, I'm telling you, if this breaks this trend line, obviously a serious warning shot if we take out the 10-11 low, but it is legitimately bad for the bull camp to take out that 959 low. So watch the trend line. That's your first warning. The actual warning shot is the 10-11 low, and then it's a legitimate breakdown taking out that 959 low. So interesting to pay attention to. Warning shot, legitimate breakdown, target, intraday low. Easy peasy lemon squeezies. Will it happen? I have no fucking clue. I'm just saying that would be a very interesting trade setup in my book. In my book. $139. Fuck this. I'm moving my target to 140. I'm right. The market's wrong. Everyone's wrong but me. I am right. The market got the pricing wrong. I am the only one in the entire universe who is right that we are going down. And you might be thinking to yourself, but Matt, I have a short position. Won't I also be right? No. I am the only one who is right in this world. Everyone else who was buying, they were wrong. I will be vindicated on the day of my daughter's wedding. All right, remember, this is the first interesting point, this trend line test. Warning shot is if we snap 169, legitimately bearish if we break the low down here at 139. And I'm front running it by 1 point because I don't want to be greedy. But Matt, you have a bull TI. No, this is a buffalo. It's a bison, which is in the bovine family, but it is not a bull. And this, as everyone knows in Native American lore, a buffalo is neither bullish nor bearish. It is just for pure luck. It is just for pure luck. Get a moose shirt on, says Moose4166, shilling us from Big Moose. A male bison is a bull. Well, that's what we call it. And to be fair, these do all look like males, so I can't even hit back on that one. But no. This is much more of a statement of overall luck than anything else. Are you a Bills fan? Yeah, I think they're cool. I'm like, the main team I support are the Eagles, but if the Eagles aren't doing well, I do like to support the Bills just because I think their fan base is like one of the cooler fan bases in the NFL, but they're not my core team just because I didn't really grow up close to them. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. No idea what that means, but I like the saying. I like the vibe. Trump is going on 23 minutes late. Dude, the dude is always late. No politician is ever on time. I get irrationally angry about it. I really, really do. Of how all politicians, all presidents, they can't keep a fucking time straight. It is so, like, it's just, what's the point in scheduling it? Why don't we just get to the point where whatever time they say, just always schedule it for an hour later? Like, come on. Like, it's always that type of bullshit. Well, this isn't looking so good. We're just dancing around equilibrium. Like, we're not trending it. It's just choppiness. So we pumped for the first portion of the day, and now just nothingness. We almost broke the trend line. Didn't happen. We almost broke this trend line. Didn't happen. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. We are just pinned to 200, a key $100 value. We are pinned to VWAP. We are consolidating lower highs, higher lows. We just have to wait. And this is exactly what you would expect as the market is in a bit of a stall pattern, waiting to see what happens with this Trump meeting, like what's discussed, what's not discussed. Short-term momentum is bullish. Medium-term momentum is bearish. Bullish, bearish. So like even momentum doesn't really know what side to be on. The Mag 7 was looking bullish until someone destroyed it at 10:08. The NASDAQ popped up, went flat, no real momentum there. The S&P 500, more so trending up. I would say that favors the bulls a bit more than the bears. It's like kind of choppy sideways, but I guess over the past couple minutes, a little bit of a trend up. But when you put it together with the NASDAQ that's doing nothing and put it together with the Mag 7, that was looking good. And someone got smoked there at 10:08, like absolutely smoked there at 10:08. We just have to wait. Like this is a game of patience. I would say right now, if you had no position, that's good. You probably shouldn't have on a position right now. You could wait for that consolidation break. You could wait for the short-term momentum to break in favor with the medium term, or you could wait for the medium term to break in favor of the short term. But right now, it's probably advantageous to have no position because we don't know what the fuck's going on. And guess what? Right back to VWAP, folks. This is... Have you ever thought to yourself, when people say the markets are choppy and not trending and you needed a real-time example, just look at what's happened from 950 till now. And this is like the Webster dictionary definition of choppy, non-trend, just a market that doesn't know what the fuck it wants to do. We need more trend lines. I'd probably be able to read this better if I bought a second $6,500 trend line course, but you never know. How many times do I have to buy a $6,000 trend line course till I figure out how to use them? I don't understand why I'm not profitable. I've learned everything I could about fair value gaps and trend lines. Dude, it's the market makers. They're hunting your positions, especially in the simulated environment. Especially in the simulated environment. That's actually where they do their most work, is hunting positions in the simulated environment. A lot of people don't know that, but that's where they really, really like to do their work. Jesus, dude. I mean, this is now just a random guess on my point. We literally might just do this until the market decides if Trump has to say something positive or negative. Like, we might just be stuck here for however long we have to wait for this. I mean, the Mag 7's getting hit. The SPY's now kind of going flat. We're just dancing at the low value from yesterday, the upside gap fill. 80 would be the next bullish target. The breakdown target would be 50, but obviously you could also watch this trend line that we drew out on the SPY. We're just waiting. Chop City. When is Trump supposed to talk? 26 minutes ago? It's supposed to start at 10 a.m. This started 65 minutes ago. I believe it was 10 a.m. So we're stuck waiting, team. If I can make it speed up and do something, I would. Dude, Apple's having a good day. I guess that's the fun thing to trade. Is anyone ripping it on Apple? That's still climbing like no other. Apple's having a phenomenal day, dude. We have any short-term Apple traders in here? Short-term Apple traders? We're testing the trend line again. I would give it 110% chance of it bouncing right back up to VWAP. Maybe 120% chance of it bouncing right back up to VWAP on this trend line. Right here, trend line test, 85. And the bounce back up to 200. Come on, do it. 100, maybe 115% chance of it happening. Nah, I'm still pretty good at the 120. Pretty confident in the 120. Matt, having a decent day on some news, especially since it's getting smoked for a while now. MSFT. I thought you said Matt's having a decent day. Microsoft's having a decent day. Yeah, the larger tech names, they're doing somewhat all right. It's time to sell your own trendline class. It's like magic. It's not like magic. It is magic. I created it in Hogwarts. No one else can connect lows to other lows or highs to other highs the way I can. Just like A lot of people fuck it up. They connect highs to lows, lows to highs, lows to medium points, highs to medium points. They go backwards. They go inside out. It takes a very, very special, astute trader to be able to connect highs to highs and lows to lows the way I can. I mean, I just do it with such a smooth, like, you know, like when you guys saw that, you probably thought, wow, like, I don't think you said it out loud, but if anyone was watching when I drew these, you're probably like, fuck, that was smooth. Like, I just do it with such confidence. I do it with such like a gravitas, like, you know, like just such a fucking aura that like when people watch me do it in person, 9 out of 10 times their girlfriend leaves them the next day. In fact, it's such a crazy statistic that when people watch me do it in person, even if they don't have a girlfriend, somehow, magically, from the market gods, they end up with a girlfriend that night just to lose her the next day. It's crazy, dude. It is crazy. Even though this show is safe for kids, it is not safe for your wife and girlfriend. It's just, no, I would be remiss to say that this show is appropriate for your wife to girlfriend to watch, especially if it's your boy drawing trend lines. Just don't let her in the room. Honestly, don't let her in the house. Maybe lock her outside for a little bit. Maybe just, fuck, dude. Right off of 170. What bullshit? What is this bullshit? You heard it here first. Lock your wife outside. It's the only way to save your marriage. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but maybe you should lock your wife outside. Muted. That's another way to do it. Mute it and maybe just break your monitor. If you want to keep the show on, which I understand a lot of you do, probably mute it and break your monitor. Like just punch your monitor. Well, there's your 120% guarantee. Watch this. Boom. Smooth. Look at that. Look at that redrawing. Right. I told you guys, right back to 200. That fair value gap didn't work. That's probably the first fair value gap in history that hasn't worked. You might want to document that for historians. I'm surprised that it didn't work on that one. That's what a douchebag. Oh, I don't think I'm a douchebag. I just think I'm better than you in all aspects of life. I don't know if that, does that like chat, does that make me a douchebag? If I just think like every aspect of my life is better than thermal scan 77, and not only have I achieved more, but I'll continue to achieve more just because I am inherently a better person, does that really make me a douchebag? I don't know, chat. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide. We're going to have to, I'm going to give that one to you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm lashing out because I'm just in shock that a fair value gap didn't work. Maybe it's because you were supposed to use an inverted fair value gap. Is that why? It's never really explained properly, the times that you're supposed to versus not supposed to, you know? Fair value gap, inverted fair value gap. What's the difference? What's not? Dude, I almost kind of want to take this off. Like, what's the point, you know?
Order canceled.
Let's get rid of those profit targets. We all just know they're hunting my profit targets anyway. We all just know they're hunting me anyway. So, like, if I put it there, Ken Griffin's probably watching this stream. Ken Griffin's probably thermal scan for all I know. Inverted non-fair value gap of non-value. There's a 90% win rate 1-1 system of only using trend lines. Would you buy it? I'd buy it twice just to make sure. There was a fair value gap within another fair value gap. So the first fair value gap was canceling out the fair value gap. Oh, so then we had an imaginary fair value gap. Dude, the fact that people believe it just shows how stupid humanity is. But I think per day, there are various updates we get in this world that show how stupid humanity is. It's one thing if you don't know what you don't know, and that's like what brings you into the market. But then if you're starting to use it time and time again, and you're told that it works, and then yet you keep losing money, at a certain point, how dumb do you have to be like, maybe it's just not good? Fuck, dude. You know what's really funny? Like absolutely hilarious is as stupid as fair value gaps are and inverted fair value gaps. ICT, the guy who like is pitching it, who he really just stole the concepts from other people. Side note, he specifically thinks VWAP and order flow is useless. VWAP, 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 VWAP breakout, VWAP, 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 VWAP. So just, and I know this isn't really a rigorous scientific process here, but just anecdotally, from the price action of today, would you rather be thinking that order flow VWAP works as levels that the market cares about, or some mystical, magical thing that even that fucking guy doesn't understand? Matt, you should do a fair value gap challenge account. Why? I would just lose money. It's like proven to be a net loss of money. So not only does he believe in stupid fucking concepts, but he actively tells his followers that concepts that have real legitimate scientific backing, like statistical backing, don't work. That's how crazy of a world we live in with these trading gurus, furus, influencers. Like none of them know how to backtest to save their life. Like if you ask them anything about their positive expected value, their expectancy, their Sharpe ratio, basic things of how often are they right, how often are they wrong, they can't answer a single mathematical based question about their system, but they're more than happy to take their $5,000 from you to teach you their system that they know fuck all about. It's the most extreme example of trust me, bro, that you can possibly find on the fucking internet. It's insane. All right, is Trump talking today? I turned off the music a while ago thinking that Trump was going to get going, but all right, I guess I might as well go back to some of this music because are you kidding me?
And we all know him very well, and he was a
proof
very popular
that Citadel
senator,
is
very
listening to me.
senator.
They started this the
Effective
second I was
probably
going back to
being the more
music.
important word, JD, don't you think? Yes, sir. And we wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
I think you do fantastically well. Congratulations to you. You have an amazing family that were here yesterday in the
I
Oval,
am the market.
Sworn in. His family's amazing, so thank you very much. We're now on day 41 of the disgraceful Democrat shutdown of Mark Wayne's
Is the volume
department.
good?
Congratulations. He came into a department that's shut down by the radical Democrats. Right? But Democrats are really punishing the American people. I saw it today on one of the shows where they were interviewing people at the airport, and they're all angry at the Democrats. They're saying they're actually angry at Schumer. I didn't think anyone knew his name. One woman said, that Schumer is disgraceful. He's a disgrace to our country. But they're angry at the Democrats. They know what's happening. But they're punishing the American people, including travelers at airports, all in the quest to return to
Order
open borders
submitted.
and give amnesty to illegal alien criminals. They want to give amnesty to some of the criminals that came into our country, just about all of them, actually, if you look at it. They love sanctuary cities, which is a sanctuary for criminals. They want to make sure they're taken care of. That's what we're fighting about. That's really what they're fighting. They don't talk about that, but that's what they're fighting about. They want to protect criminals. In many cases, 11,888 murders. Many of them, I will say, are gone now because of us. We got them out. But still have some left. Should have never happened, should have never been allowed to come into our country. But we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let the Democrats get away with this stuff, and people are wise to them. So they need to end the shutdown immediately, or we'll have to take some very drastic measures. This morning, I want to give an update on the operation Epic Fury, which is an appropriate name
What a
because we
name.
are absolutely obliterating them.
I want to be in the naming
Over the
department.
past 3 weeks, we've been
I do it
hitting
for
Iran's
free.
military capabilities at a level that few people have ever seen before.
Fuck.
People never knew there was such a capability. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world by far. I built it during my first administration, and I used it during my second administration. Unfortunately, because I'd rather not have to use it. But it's a display of force and precision and skill like nothing the world has really witnessed, although you get a pretty good witnessing of it in Venezuela also. And that was a smaller version of what we're doing now. We're crushing their missiles and drone stockpiles, destroying their defense industrial base. We've wiped out their Navy completely, their Air Force completely. We've wiped out a large percentage of their missiles. And the missile launchers, without the launchers, the missiles don't do any good.
They don't do
And
missile.
we've knocked
They
out
don't go
probably
boom boom.
close to 90% of the launchers. Probably more than 90% of the missiles themselves. Between some they fired and more than they fired, we knocked out. We've also destroyed a lot of the factories. We're continuing to do that, but a lot of the factories where they manufacture the drones and the
Fucking
missiles.
right back
The
to
drones too
VWAP,
are way
dude.
down.
We
But the
cannot
reason
escape
they're
this
down is
fucking hell.
They go
Order
one way and they
canceled.
don't come back. 'Cause
Right
for the
back
most
to
part, we're
VWAP.
shooting them down. But we also are able to, we've really done tremendous damage to the places where they make them.
We're in purgatory,
And just
folks.
so we set the record straight, because I've been watching the Wall Street Journal's fake news and all these stories that get printed like, oh, I want to make a deal. They are begging to make a deal, not me.
Yeah,
begging
right,
to make a
dude.
deal.
They're begging, dude.
And anybody that saw what was
15
happening over
minutes
there would
until they
understand
reject
why
that.
they want to make a deal. But they say, oh, we're not talking to
15
anybody would know
minutes
that.
until
And
Iranian
only
state media says,
a
the
total
fuck
fool- and
we
they're not
are.
fools. They're very smart, actually.
Look at
in a
that.
certain
Even
way.
the market's not buying it.
And they're great negotiators. I say they're lousy fighters, but they're great negotiators. And they are begging to work out a deal. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. I don't know if we're willing
Order
to do
submitted.
that. They should have done that 4 weeks ago. They should have done it 2 years ago. Or they should have done it when we first came into office, because 2 years ago they had free reign under Biden. Sleepy Joe, worst president in the
Order
history of our
filled.
country. What he allowed to happen to our country at the borders, and even with a thing like this. But not just him. Every president for 47 years, every president should have done this. They should have done it a long time ago, because you cannot give
Locked in
lunatics
one?
a nuclear weapon, and they would have had a big one. It stopped really when we did the B2, but even before that, the Barack Hussein Obama, what he did where he gave them the Iran nuclear deal, gave them free will toward a nuclear weapon. Basically, he chose Iran over.
Oh, did Matt just bottom tick and exit? Oh, did Matt literally just get out at a perfect value? Oh, did Matt have a short and he literally picked the exact bottom? Folks, this is exactly why you need to take the trendline class and the ICT class. If you put those two together, you will in fact become a market god. Before I took the ICT and trendline class, I was the shell of a man. I didn't know what was going on. I was a loser, not only in the markets, but in my life. And then for a very measly fee of $6,500 and another $5,000 and hundreds of hours of study, I was able to turn my life around. I was able to start hitting dingers, and all of a sudden, that shell of a man turned into an actual man. Folks, best investment of my life. Best investment of my life. If you're not trading trendline ICT right now, you might be a Nazi. I'm just saying, okay. I am just saying, you know who didn't trade trendline ICT? Adolf Hitler. Is that really the company you want to keep? Is that the company you want to keep? Do you want to be using the same non-trading style as Adolf Hitler? Something to think about.
They met to pick a new level, and they're gone. They're all gone.
Just something to think
Because
about.
they didn't make a deal, and because they're sick people. They're really sick. They're really sinister, sick people.
He's not lying.
And if anybody thinks it was okay to have a group of people like this, to have
Why you
nuclear
gotta hate on
capability,
Uncle
nuclear
H?
weapons,
Jesus
and
Christ,
if we didn't
dude.
attack with the B-2 bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks of that, maybe 4 weeks. But between 2 and 4 weeks, they were planning to have a nuclear weapon. If we didn't hit them at that time with the B-2 bombers, and one of the great air raids in history, maybe the greatest, dark at night, no moon, no light, every single bomb hit its mark and just obliterated.
Is this where you want to
that
be when
place.
Jesus comes back?
So it's
Fair
now
question.
buried deep under earth. And it was an amazing thing, but they would have a nuclear, and they would have used it without question. And you know that because why did they shoot all these countries that weren't even really involved with them? They weren't involved. They had no big problems.
I am
Because
the
they're sick.
greatest
Because
traitor
they wanted
this
to take
world
over
has
the Middle
ever
East, not just
seen.
Israel.
And I'm
Certainly Israel
humble
would have
as
been the first
fuck.
on their list. They would have used nuclear weapons.
Just remember that, class.
A nuclear. You don't need too many of them. But they would have used a nuclear weapon on Israel. And they would have
Just
used it
remember
on the
that.
other neighbors. And then they would have come after us. And if we had a weak president, they would have done great damage. But fortunately, you don't have a weak president. I knew what was happening. And I think we've been proven right. You know, they took one missile, went 2,500 miles. They supposedly didn't have a missile like that. They had no missile with that capability. But they shot the now famous Ireland.
They shot
island
Ireland?
That the UK was very afraid to give us.
Is he making
'cause they didn't
things
want
up?
to get dragged in. But we don't want to get dragged into their wars either. You know? It's one thing we're very disappointed, I'll say it publicly, we're very disappointed with NATO because NATO has done absolutely nothing. And I've always
Potato,
said 25 years
potato.
ago, I mean, I was somebody that wasn't
NATO,
a politician,
potato.
but I was always involved
That's
in
what I like to
politics,
say.
and I understood politics. I said 25 years ago that NATO's a paper tiger, but more importantly, that we'll come to their rescue, but they will never come to ours. And I want you to remember that we said this. They didn't come to our rescue. Now they all want to help. When they're annihilated, the other side is annihilated, they said, we'd love to send ships. They actually made a statement, a couple of them, that we want to get involved when the war's over. No, it's supposed to get involved when the war's beginning, or even before it begins. We had
Yeah,
the
you
UK
should start
say
the
that,
war.
We'll send,
Pussies?
This is 3 weeks ago.
Those
We'll send
pussies
our
at NATO
aircraft
won't even
carriers, which
start
aren't
the
best
war.
aircraft
We have to
carriers, by
start the
way.
war. Can
They're
you
toys
believe that
compared to what we
bullshit?
have. But we'll send our
You
aircraft
should get
carrier
involved
when
before the war starts. I like
the
that.
war's over.
That's big
I said,
brain.
oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Don't bother.
Think about that
We
more.
don't need it. And we don't need it, and we don't need them. We estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission, and we're way ahead of schedule.
Aren't we
If you
4
look
weeks
at,
into it now?
What we've done in terms of the destruction of that country, I mean, we're way ahead. Think of it. They have no navy, and they had good ships. 154 ships have been shot down and are resting very
You
nicely at the bottom
shot
of
the
the sea.
ships down?
And we did that in a matter of less than a week. Because we have the
NATO
greatest military
potato.
in the world by far, nobody even close. So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're extremely, really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us. Dude,
I love this.
They wouldn't talk
We're
otherwise.
just getting gaslit.
But they're talking to us because they've got a disaster in their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback. We're free to roam over their cities and towns and destroy all of their crazy nuclear weapons and missiles and drones that they're building. And we're doing that. They now have a chance to make a deal, but that's up to them. And they'll tell you, we're not negotiating. We will not negotiate. Of course they're negotiating. They've been obliterated. Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up. And even now, we don't know if there are any mines. You know, they have 22 they call mine droppers. Think of it. Who would have 22 mine droppers? There's a boat that drops mines. Who has 22 mine droppers?
Not
Except
this
for
guy.
people with very evil intention.
Who does have 22
So,
mine droppers? That's a
Every one
fucking
of those
crazy
mine
question.
droppers has been struck
Who has?
with the same weapon we used to stop
fair
drugs
question.
from coming into the United States of America. When we hit those boats, it's the exact same weapon, extremely effective. We have unlimited supplies and extremely effective. But they have no more mine droppers. By the way, speaking of drugs, we're 98% down drugs coming in by water, by the ocean, by the sea. 98%. And we're trying to find out who are the 2% because we think they're the bravest men anywhere in the world. Maybe women. But whoever's on those boats is very brave or doesn't watch television. But where drugs coming in by sea, coming in by water, are 98% down. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. The land is the easy one. You had to stop the water. A lot of it came into the water. Now it's all pinched. And these people are trying to come in by land. And we will, that's it, that's the easy one. But we had to take care of the water first. Nobody's coming in. Virtually nothing is coming in anymore. It was hundreds of millions of dollars a week were coming in by water. But they now have the chance, that is Iran, to permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions and to chart a new path forward. We'll see if they want to do it. If they don't, we're their worst nightmare. In the meantime, we'll just keep blowing them away.
We'll keep
unimpeded,
blowing them.
unstopped. Well, there's not a thing they can do about it. They can't do anything about it, you know. I tell you, if they could, you'd be hearing about it. You'd be hearing about it. You don't hear anything about it. They can't shoot our jets. We have the best military equipment in the world. No, not even a contest. And you see that with Venezuela. They had other equipment. They didn't have ours. It didn't work. Didn't work. Think of it. We did the situation in Venezuela. It was a great military operation, getting a very, very dangerous man who's killed a lot of people, forced people into our country. Incredible. He emptied his prisons in Venezuela, emptied his prisons into our country, and I hope that charge will be brought at some point, because that was a big charge that hasn't been brought yet. It should be brought. He emptied his prisons into our country and was a major purveyor of drugs coming into our country. And he's now been captured and, I guess be given a fair trial. But I would imagine there are other trials coming because they've really sued him just in a fraction of the kind of things that he's done. Other cases are going to be brought, as you probably know. In the meantime, with Iran, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing, and nobody's a match for the United States, but they're not a match for the United States. It's small potatoes. That's why I'm so disappointed in NATO, because this was a test for NATO. This was a test. You can help us. You don't have to, but if you don't if you don't do that, we're going to remember. Just remember this in a number of months from now. Remember my statements. They have an expression, a great expression, never forget. You can never forget. So as we
Like
end
an elephant.
threats to America abroad, we're focused here at home on building the greatest economy in the history of the world. Now, before this started, the Dow hit 50,000. The S&P hit 7,000. Both of those achievements were not achievable. Every one of you, most of you, I guess, said you'll never hit 50,000 during a 4-year period because it was too high a number. Well, we hit it in our first year.
Yeah, dummies.
And I said, well, now we have to
Stupid
take an
fucks.
excursion to Iran, and we have to stop this maniac who's no longer with us. The supreme leader wasn't so supreme, no longer with us.
And
It's
he
very
was
sad.
gay.
But we have to stop him from
Did you guys hear that one?
blowing up the world, blowing up the Middle
Sorry,
East.
I'm
and
just trying to
blowing
do the
up our country,
technical
and we did
analysis
that.
I've recently been learning.
And I thought the oil prices would
Whoa.
go up more, and I thought the stock market would go down more. Hasn't
Jesus
been
Christ, don't
nearly as
say
severe
that,
as
buddy.
I thought. I think they have confidence in maybe the
Is he
American
fucking,
president.
is he crazy?
And maybe the people
I
sitting
thought the
around
market
this
would
table.
go down more.
But Americans filing their taxes this
Is
year,
he
receiving
fucking nuts?
record-setting refunds. It's been a very big story.
Obviously,
well,
he
it should be a
didn't
big
take the
story. I don't think you
technical
read about it that
analysis
much.
class.
I speak about it. You know, I speak about it because if I speak about it, at least people hear. You don't write about it. You don't write about the drug prices going down. It'll be going down 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70%. Favored nations. Called most favored nations. We're going to be paying the lowest price anywhere in the world. Before we paid the highest price in the world, Bobby, right? And now we're going to pay the lowest price in the world. That's quite a difference. It's a difference of from 40 to 70 and 80 and even 90%. That's a pretty big difference. But we're slashing regulations and investment is pouring in from all over the world. We have the most investment of any country in history has been put into our country in the last year. And again, we had to take a little detour. Won't be long. Going to end soon. We had to take a little detour, go to Iran.
This is a
and we had to
little
put out a fire.
spring
Very
trip
dangerous
to
fire that could have
Iran.
blown up big portions of the world, if not the whole thing. So tomorrow we'll be announcing a variety of actions that we're taking to support American farmers, who we never forget.
Should I put my stop in? Yep, this is what
$12
happens when the
billion out of
president
tariff
says he
money.
thinks
We
the
have
market's going to go
tremendous
fucking
amount of
lower.
tariff money
Jesus,
come in.
dude.
And we continue to have. We've gone, as you know, the Supreme Court gave us a very unfortunate, foolish ruling. A ruling that gives the people that have ripped off our country for many years, gives them some money back. But it's one of those things. It's a terrible, terrible, horrible mistake they made. But it's okay because we have another method that's just as good. We'll use the other method. But because the tariff money has been so substantial,
trend lines,
we
dude.
gave our farmers who have been mistreated by some countries, we gave them $12 billion. And they're extremely happy. And they deserve it. They've been great. They never complain. They just go out and they farm, and they wouldn't do anything different. They wouldn't trade jobs with any of you, except maybe some of the fake media. I don't know. Somehow I don't see that. I like their job better, actually. I love the farmers. So we gave them $12 billion. So in just a few moments, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will discuss the actions that we're taking to address energy prices, which have not gone up as much as I thought, Scott, to be honest with you. And,
Dude,
it's not over.
bro.
So maybe it'll go up a little bit
Chill
more.
out on this
It's all going
shit.
to come back down to where it was, and probably
Brother.
lower. And my predictions have been right. Trump was right about everything. They have a new hat. Trump was right about everything. It's pretty right. But Scott's going to address that. And I think before we go very much further, I want to ask Vice President J.D. Vance to say a few words about where we are with the situation he's involved with Steve and with Jared on negotiations. And then some of the others will speak. We'll have Marco say a few words. Pete Hegseth, who was born for this role. I mean, he's doing a great job. They gave him a hard time. And now people, I'll tell you, somebody came up to me yesterday, gave you a very hard time, said, you know, I made a mistake. Pete Hegseth is doing a good job. Thank you, sir. So when I tell you who, you're not even going to believe it. He said, Hegseth, he gave you such a nasty hard time. But you're doing great. And then Steve is going to speak, and Scott will speak last. And if we have any questions, we'll take some questions. You may have questions. I doubt it, but you may have some. So, JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. It's good to see everybody. Proud to be part of this team. Proud to be serving the president of the country. Let me just say a couple things. The first of all is the president summarized this very ably. But look, the Iranian conventional military is effectively destroyed. They don't have a navy. They don't have the ability to hit us like they could have even a few weeks ago. And what that does is that gives us options, Mr. President. Now, there's been a lot of reporting about diplomatic options, about negotiations. There's, of course, Pete and his team. There are further military options. But what we have now that we didn't have when the president took over just a little over a year ago is the ability to use every tool at our disposal to ensure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Because when I say options, I think it's important the American people know options for what? And it's options to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. You talk about people who walk into a crowded supermarket and have a vest on, and they blow up the vest and a couple of people get killed, and that's a terrible tragedy. What happens when what's on the vest is not something that can kill a couple of people, but can kill many, many tens of thousands of people? That is the most important American national security objective that exists for any administration at any time, is you don't want the worst people in the world to have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president is doing this. That's why the president cares so much about this particular issue. I'll let Steve talk a little bit about the details of the negotiation, but the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Marco is I'm very mindful, of course, that we have a lot of folks overseas fighting very ably for the United States of America, and Pete and the whole team, we're very proud of them, but they're fighting at a time where we are about to enter as Christians the most important week of the Christian calendar, the Holy Week that celebrates the return of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem. And so I want to say to all of my fellow American Christians, but particularly those serving in the Gulf, that I wish you all a very blessed Easter, a very blessed Holy Week, and we continue to stand behind you and continue to support you every step of the way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Marco?
The most important job any president has is to keep the American people safe. And every president says it, but we have a president that means it and does something about it. As the president outlined very clearly to the world on the night this operation began, Iran has been at war with the United States for 47 years. For 47 years, Iran has been killing Americans and attacking Americans across this planet. And other presidents had an opportunity to do something about it. And they all warned about how Iran was dangerous, but they refused to act. And this president's not someone that's going to refuse to act. He's not going to leave a danger like this in place. He's going to address it, and that is what he is doing. From the very first night of this operation, the president made it very clear. People like this, and now what I'm talking about is not the people of Iran. The people that run this country are radical Shia clerics. These are religious fanatics. Look what they are doing now. At their weakest point, this is the weakest Iran has ever been, and look at what they're doing. They're attacking embassies. They're attacking hotels. Imagine what these people would do if they had a nuclear weapon. That is an unacceptable risk for the world. By the way, the president's not just doing a favor to the United States and to our people. This is for the world. He defined very clearly on the first night of this operation what the goal was. We were going to destroy Iran's Navy, and that is happening. We were going to, if it hasn't already happened, I'll let Pete speak to the specifics of it. We were going to destroy their missile launching capabilities. We're well on our way to achieving that goal. We were going to destroy the factories so they couldn't make more missiles and more drones, and that is moving forward. Every single objective the president clearly laid out on the first night of this operation is being effectuated. Again, Pete will speak to the specifics of it. This has been an incredibly successful operation. Every day, it may not get covered because, we're unlike them. We're not bombing embassies and hotels. We're hitting military targets. But every day, the Department of War lets the drummer get wicked over every portion of Iran that has these military capabilities, and the results are going to bear fruit for the world. The world is going to be a safer and a better place when President Trump's mission here is achieved. And frankly, I think countries around the world, even those that are out there complaining about this a little bit, should actually be grateful that the United States has a president that's willing to confront a threat like this and not allow it to continue to persist. Because these people will kill as many Americans as they have a chance to do, and if they have a nuclear weapon, as the Vice President pointed out, they could kill millions of Americans in the future, and that is a risk that was not going to continue to exist.
I don't think that's the right trend line.
This president.
Thank you, Marco. It's very interesting because yesterday I was watching, is it Anthony Blinken? And he was saying that they should have done it. But they didn't do it. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. For 47 years, Marco, that's the number, 47. I guess now it's 48, because we've been saying 47 for a long time. It's probably 48. But for 47, 48 years, every president should have done this.
They should have all.
And
I think every president
some are saying now
has bombed the
they made a
Middle
big
East.
mistake in not doing it, but we're taking care of business.
I don't want to be that
Steve
guy,
Woodcock,
but
please.
Mr. President, it is my distinct honor to be a member of your cabinet and to report to you and your team on our negotiations with Iran. Mr. President, you directed Jared and I to pursue a diplomatic resolution with Iran prior to Operation Epic Fury, which we did. However, it became quite clear during these meetings with the Iranian negotiating team that we could not make a deal that fulfilled your objectives of the following: no enrichment whatsoever, no chance of weaponizing whatsoever, decommissioning of Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan, which you destroyed in Operation Midnight Hammer,
Mike, switch up.
no stockpiling of any material, which they flagrantly violated, turning all enriched material over to us, and a cutback in Iran's missile inventory and range capability of those same missiles. Throughout our meetings with the Iranians, we heard the following from them. The Iranians have the inalienable right to enrich. Then we heard they possessed enough 60% enriched material, 460 kilograms.
Oh, that was a good trend
to make
line.
11 atomic bombs. Finally, we heard the following statement. They would not give up diplomatically what we could not win militarily. In other words, they were again miscalculating the success of Midnight Hammer, which was a total success. These are incontrovertible signs, among many other signs, sir, that their regime had not given their negotiating team authority to make a deal required by you. We conferred with you and all the other members of your foreign policy team, Susie Wiles, Pete Hegseth, the chairman, Marco Rubio, JD, Scott Bessent, Chris Wright, John Radcliffe.
Chris Rock.
Throughout all of these
Oil's
negotiations,
popping.
and we were repeatedly rebuffed on everything we asked for. I have no doubt that we exhausted all efforts on behalf of a peaceful resolution, as you directed. Jared and I both agreed that the Iranians were there to buy time until a weaker president arrived. This was a flawed strategy, as your clear direction was to never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon today or any time in the future. Against that backdrop and our compelling military successes,
We need more
in
trend
epic
lines.
fury, we have had multiple reach-outs from the region and others who want to play a role in ending this conflict peacefully. I can report to you today that we have, along with your foreign policy team, presented a 15-point action list that forms the framework for a peace deal. This has been circulated through the Pakistani government, acting as the mediator. And this has resulted in strong and positive messaging in talks, as you just indicated to the press. But these are sensitive diplomatic discussions, and you have directed us to maintain confidentiality on the specific terms and not negotiate through the news media as others do. I can say this, we will see where things lead, and if we can convince Iran that this is the inflection point with no good alternatives for them, other than more death and destruction. We have strong signs that this is a possibility, and if a deal happens, it will be great for the country of Iran, for the entire region, and the world at large. Your policy of peace through strength is the most effective tool for a diplomatic resolution here.
Did he just call the president a
this
tool?
policy was an effective tool in each and every one of all of the other
guess you have free
conflicts you
speech.
settled in your first year. Iran is looking for an off-ramp following your powerful threat.
PA is
on
respecting every
Saturday.
new line drawn. Of
Your
course. That's why
indications
trend lines work.
that you are willing to listen to peace proposals.
That's $6,500 of my
received.
life.
You have instructed us that your preference is always peace, and that we should make that our priority. We have delivered that message, sir, along with the 15 points for peace. Finally, we have told Iran one last thing. Don't miscalculate again.
Good. Thank you very much. Good job. Doing a great job.
Boom, the kid
Everybody
fucking
around
rocks.
this table is doing a great job. Pete Hegseth, please.
Mr. President. I'll start kind of where you left off, Mr. President. Thank you for doing the work of the free world and having the courage to step up and stop the Iranian terror regime from holding the world hostage. That's really what it is. And 27 days ago, Iran had a modern military. Never in recorded history has a nation's military been so quickly and effectively neutralized. Operation Epic Fury is not an endless war. It's a decisive campaign with clear objectives to destroy Iran's offensive military capabilities and ensure they never obtain a nuclear weapon. This is stuff for the history books. This is stuff for legacy. Mr. President, you are acting now to ensure future generations do not have to live under the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran.
Stuff for the history books.
However, you wouldn't
That's kind
know
of
it if you listened to the
ableist, isn't
dishonest
it?
hate
What about
Trump
people who
media,
can't read?
As you referenced, the folks here in the room, these cameras, they have a choice.
Matt,
You're
you
either
still
informing
short?
the American people of the truth.
I'm like
or
5'9"
you're
and a
not.
half, 5'10".
Because I hear it from my people
I
every
think I'm
day.
done growing though.
Behind every headline you write, there's a helicopter crew.
I'm like
in the
31.
air.
I don't think I
And behind
am
every
going to
news
keep
banner
going.
you write,
I'm like
there's a
5'10",
battalion
5'11" with
on the
shoes.
move. And behind every fake news story, there's an F-35 pilot executing a dangerous mission. My message to the media is get it right. This actually isn't something new to me. I may be a young guy, Mr. President, but I'm not a rookie in this realm. In 2007, I helped lead the surge, the public fight for the Iraq surge. Stood and watched people stand in the Senate and declare the war is lost before it even started. Who was that? It was Harry Reid. That was the Democrats and the media working hand in glove. Back then, it was 3 years into a war. Now we're 3 weeks into an operation. But see, unlike Iraq, this isn't a tie. This is not parody. This is not chaos. This is success. Pure American success. On plan, and as the
Pure
president said,
American
ahead of pace.
success.
Over 10,000 enemy targets destroyed. Over 140, I think now you're right, Mr. President, over
So much
150
fucking
naval
winning.
vessels sunk, underground facilities destroyed, their defense industrial base in shambles. And overnight, not only do they not have a
New trend
Navy,
line.
Mr. President, they no longer have a Navy commander. IRGC's Navy commander was killed overnight in operation. So no Navy leader. Now that here's the thing about the media, though.
What's the
If
next
President
level
Trump
if
had not
NQ breaks
acted,
24,000?
you'd be screaming,
bro,
"Why not?"
Look at the chart.
And now that
Pretty
he has
evident.
taken decisive action, you're asking, well, why did you? It's the same old tired playbook, TDS in your DNA. But the hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic Americans out there know better. And you alluded to this, President Obama, Mr. President. Here's a fact that you don't hear on your networks, but we know. Many of the Iranian military factories and bases that we're systematically destroying were paid for by the pallets of American cash that Barack Obama flew into Tehran under the Iran deal. You might call it an inconvenient truth. Iran took our money and turned it into weapons and bunkers and ammo. And now we're destroying those weapons, and you're righting, Mr. President, that grievous wrong. And make no mistake, we had to act. And our objectives are clear. No nukes, no Navy, and a complete dismantling of their missile program and defense industrial base. And as Marco pointed out, that mission, and the VP as well, has not changed since day one. Yet, 2 days ago, they shot
Mag
two
7's
failed missiles
picking up since
on a target
10:55.
4,000 kilometers away.
S&P 500
For years, they
low
told the
alert
world
at
that their missiles could only
10:52.
range
Popped since
2
then, but now
kilometers.
going flat.
Surprise. Yet again, Iran lied. And to the world, I say London
Iran
is
lied.
4,000 kilometers from
Only
Iran.
the U.S. lies.
Washington, D.C. is 3,300 kilometers from Venezuela, another country President Trump did something about that partnered for a long time with Iran.
Hey,
So you're
if you
telling
want to
us
trade
that
with someone
Iran is
else's
not a
money,
threat
check
to the
out
world
Fund
or
and
to the
Futures
US,
Network,
President
code
Trump knows
Goonie.
that.
We'll get you
And here's
40%
what
off,
success
buy one, get one,
actually
no
looks like right
activation
now.
fee.
You mentioned it, Mr. President. A-10 Warthogs, if you know them, you love them. And Apache
Trend line.
helicopter gunships
We're at a trend line.
are flying strike missions inside Iranian airspace and
Trend line
throughout the Strait of
rejection.
Hormuz at will. See,
Trend
you
line
only
rejection.
send these slow, low-flying, close air support platforms when the enemy has no meaningful air defenses left. Their presence is proof that Iran's air defenses
What
are
a
gone.
perfect trend
Their
line.
command and control is shattered. Their top leaders
Literally.
hiding in underground
Did you guys not
bunkers,
see that?
While their mid-level commanders are being crushed in the field. The
Inverted
morale of their
trend line
fighters plummeting.
rejection.
We see
I
that
like that.
disconnect daily.
Dude,
They're privately
called it.
admitting,
Fucking
as
called
you
it.
said, Mr. President, very heavy losses. We know that. President Trump has
Look at
given us a clear
trend line
mission.
support.
Our capabilities
Called that
are only
too.
going up, and
Bounce.
Iran's are plummeting. We are here to win, and we're
so
full
good at this.
speed ahead. So, Steve, we
I'm
appreciate
so
your
good
efforts.
at this.
We pray for a deal, and we welcome a deal, and we have the ultimate deal maker to make it happen. But in the meantime,
Called
as I
it.
said yesterday, the Department of War will continue negotiating with bombs. War is negotiation by other means. And finally, I want to thank our incredible troops. our pilots, crews, sailors, refuelers, air
Called it.
defenders, the absolute best
Rejected
of America,
right back
the real
down.
1% of our country.
So good at this.
This president,
Oh, called it.
President Trump has your back.
Watch
And I know
this
this
one.
cabinet
Watch this one
prays
right
for
here.
you every single day, and we ask the American people to do the same as they continue in this
Watch
mission.
this.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great. I think before I ask Scott to say a couple of words, it would be great if people like the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois would say, please come in and stop the crime. A beautiful young lady was
Called
killed
it.
the other day, and the father was a very good friend of Dan Scavino, and he took it very hard. Dan took it very hard, like the father, friends. They grew up together.
Called
And
it.
it's a young lady whose life would be saved if we did what we did as an example in Washington, D.C., which is now a safe city. All the time, people come up to me in the
Called
building,
it.
people that work here, they say, thank you so much. I know immediately what they're talking
I am
about. They're
so
able
good
to
at
walk
this.
to work. They walk to work. You
I'm
all
so
walk to work.
fucking
Some
good
of
at
you
this.
were mugged. I know you told me stories. Some of you were mugged. One person in particular was viciously mugged in the group right here. It's not happening anymore. You have a safe city.
Called it.
Louisiana, the governor of Louisiana called me, can you help me with New Orleans? They just had the Mardi Gras. He said it was the safest Mardi Gras we've ever had. Sounds terrible to say. No murders. You know, it sounds like, who would say this? No murders, but they always had murders. They had a
So
lot of
easy.
crime during Mardi Gras. He said virtually no crime. We had the troops down there. Memphis, Tennessee, I just got back. We were there. Crime is down 75%. In a short period of time, we're there 5 months. We could do that for Chicago. We could do that for New York. We could do that for L.A. And we could do that for, frankly, San Francisco. I know they have a mayor who's trying very hard. He's a Democrat, but he's trying very hard. But we can do it much more effectively because he can't do what we do. He can't take people out from the city and bring them back to the country from where they came, where they were in prisons. They were allowed to go in prisons. There were drug dealers, the highest level drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murders. We do things that they can't do. I had friends calling me up from San Francisco. Could you give him a chance? I said, absolutely. If you want him, we'll give him a chance. He's trying. He's doing okay, but we could do much better. We could make it a lot safer than it is. San Francisco, a great city, was a great city, could quickly become a great city again. But, you know, they're going very slowly. I tell my friends they're very substantial people. They're in a certain business where people have made a lot of money. I hope that lasts. But they have a tremendous potential. It was one of the greatest cities in the world. Now it's got a lot of crime. And the mayor is really trying. Again, a Democrat trying. And I spoke to him. He just wants to have a chance. And I said, we'll give you a chance. But we can solve it very quickly. This young lady would be around today if we were around, because we have nobody coming through our border. I mean, literally for 9 months, it's zero. It's hard to believe that number can be possible because millions of people came in through Biden. But nobody even tries. We don't have the caravans of thousands, 25, 30,000 people pouring into our border. They come up in caravans. We don't have caravans anymore. There's no such thing anymore. There's a name that I think I developed, but somebody developed it, but I think it was me. I thought it was inappropriate. And thousands of people would come up and just barge into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And this man came in, Dan, right? And he came in through the ridiculous open border of Biden. If we were there, the election was rigged. What are you going to do? Came back, big comeback. But if we were there, we wouldn't have had people coming through. It's amazing. You know, it's so easy now because everyone knows they're not getting through. We don't have any caravans. Once they know that, when it was easy to come through. When I heard that they had an open border policy, I said, boy, this is going to be, I couldn't believe it. But when it was actually, you know, it dawned on me because I had built 1,000 miles of wall And we were finishing up some, and he didn't want to finish it up. I said, they really do want to have an open border. And we got it finished. But that young lady would be alive today. And she'd be alive for another reason, because we would have the National Guard in Chicago and in New York and in other places. And they love doing it. It's like training, to be honest. It's actually training. I never want to take them out of D.C. I mean, maybe somebody later on will do it, but I never want to take. You know, the people, they look, they say, we feel so good, we feel so safe. We see these beautiful, strong people, and they're so nice. They help. They open the doors for people. They carry bags. They pick up paper when they see paper on the ground. I looked at D.C. last night. I drove to make a speech, and I drove through, and I said, take me this way, take me that way. The city's clean. The fences are down. You don't have homeless all over your parks. I mean, we had parks. There was no room for anything else other than homeless. It's all clean and nice. And it'll be even more beautiful in a year from now. And we have some projects that are great. This ballroom is going to be something that's so beautiful for the city, so desperately needed by presidents. I mean, now it's no secret the military wanted it more than anybody. It was supposed to be secret, but it became unsecret because of people that are really unpatriotic saying things. But doesn't matter.
Be right back.
Doesn't matter. It's going to be great. We're building an arc, a triumphal arc, which will be incredible for the city. Incredible. We're fixing up what was the Kennedy Center. You know, I was honored when the board changed the name a little bit. Actually, it shows that the Republican and the Democrats, they work together. It's really something we work together. So I think it's a great symbol, actually. But we're doing a lot of work. That building's ready to fall down. It's in terrible shape. We're closing it. We're going to open it with a bang in less than 2 years. It'll come in under budget, ahead of schedule. That's what I do. It won't be like the Federal Reserve that's costing $4 billion or something thereabouts. Think of it, $4 billion. You know, it's amazing. I said to the group before, I said, everything I do, I get sued. I build under budget, ahead of schedule. I get sued over a ballroom that's going to be the most beautiful ballroom in the country, so desperately needed. You won't have to have tents sitting on the wet White House lawn. If it rains, you get wiped out, to honor the president of China or the president of France or the president of somewhere. You can have the greatest. We get sued by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. They don't know what they're doing. Then I just found out we got sued by that group and another group, I guess, on the fixing up of again, I'll use the old name, Kennedy Center, because they're not fixing up Trump Kennedy. It's going to be beautiful when you add the name Trump.
Called it.
We got sued, and all I'm doing is fixing it up. We're fixing broken marble.
Called it.
We're putting on a roof because it leaks like a sieve. We're fixing steel that's broken. It's the same building, same exact building. We're fixing. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so beautiful and safe. It's actually unsafe. You had some of those columns on the outside that were painted a fake gold. Now we painted them a beautiful white color, beautiful cream white. It's beautiful. Everyone said it's so much more beautiful now. Instead of a cheap, you can't imitate gold. See, I'm a gold person. It's all real stuff. You can't imitate it. Someday they'll discover a paint that will look like gold, and the guy's going to be the richest man in the world. But you can't imitate real gold. It just doesn't. That's 24 karat, which is what this building deserves. But think of it. I get sued because I'm fixing up the Trump Kennedy Center. We're going to make it gorgeous and safe. We're fixing new windows, new this, but just all fix up. I got sued by preservationists. But you know who they didn't sue? The man that took this beautiful Federal Reserve building. That's small, much smaller than the hotel I built. I built the Waldorf Astoria Hotel down the road. And it was a beautiful job for $201 million. It's bigger, I think, than the Federal Reserve building. And it's got rooms and bathrooms, and it's not like just an open office space, which is much cheaper to build. Think of this. I hear he's going to be over $4 billion for a little building. He doesn't get sued by anybody but me. I sue because it's either somebody's very crooked, which has to be.
Called
'cause
it.
What happened to all that money? You can't sue.
Right
I would
there.
have done that building
Called
for
it.
$25
Called
million.
it. Watch this.
It's going to cost
77
maybe $4
incoming.
billion, and we have a great
soon as
new
it hits,
person
obviously,
coming in
called
to
it.
take over the Fed. And Kevin may not ever have an office. Because I don't know if they're going to be able to build. I passed that building the other
They're
day.
talking
It's
about
a
Kevin
see-through.
Warsh?
You know what see-through means? There's no walls up. And they're going to spend. But the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which is a joke, by the way, they didn't sue that building. They didn't sue anybody. But they sued me and I build. And by the way, my buildings, it's all donations. Rich people and people are putting up the money. 0 taxpayer dollars. Is that right, Scott? 0 taxpayer dollars. This stuff is all done for free and I get sued. This could only happen to Trump. But they don't sue the guy whose interest rates are too high. That's why we call him Too Late. His name is Jerome Powell. We call him Jerome Too Late Powell. And done a terrible job. He suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, as he probably should, because I hit him pretty hard. But so I don't blame him. But they don't sue a man who has taken this gorgeous building, ripped it down from the inside, taking ceilings that are as beautiful as you've ever seen, taking the ceilings down instead of leaving them, taking walls down that were 2 feet thick of solid concrete and plaster, replacing them with 6-inch walls with no insulation. I said, let me ask you, are you going to put insulation in? No, it's not in the budget. Oh. Insulation costs $5. Now you're going to hear the guy next door. If he's next door to me, I'll be able to hear his military plan. I'll know exactly. If Lutnick is in there, I'll say, oh, I know exactly what Lutnick's got planned. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. They've ripped this gorgeous building apart, and you can never build it again. I could, but it costs a lot of money. But a normal person can never build.
Fuck, man.
So you're going to have crummy little walls, a flat little ceiling eventually, but right now you don't have anything. And nobody sues this guy. And then when Jeanine Pirro, working with Pam and others, has the courage to sue to find out what happened to maybe $4 billion and a building that may never be occupied by Kevin Warsh. He may never get there. We're going to have to find him some space in the White House. We'll put him in the basement of the ballroom. But when, now think of it, when Jeanine Pirro and Pam and the group, when they bring a suit, it's like, oh, this terrible thing. And then we have a judge that attacks us. So we've got to get our priorities straight, you know. It's a very sad thing that's happened with the Fed. And then just one other thing very quickly, you have Gavin Newsom in California Railroad. That's 100 times over budget. It's out of control. It was supposed to go from the middle of San Francisco to the middle of LA. Well, now it stops way short of both. It now goes into areas that nobody ever heard of. It's billions and billions of dollars over budget, years and years, maybe decades late. And that's why we have a country that has a lot of problems. You know, we have incompetent people. It's all people. Think of this: Federal Reserve. I would have had that building done for $25 million. I would have, if I did it. It was
called it.
Somebody else would have done it for more. So maybe 50. But you could have done that building if it was properly done and planned. You would have done that building for, I would have done it for $25 million, and it would be better. It would be better. See this pen right here? This pen is an interesting example.
Sell me this pen.
So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well.
Called it.
I like it. But I can't have the pen the way it was. You know what it is. I don't want to give too much publicity, but they do treat me well. Sharpie. So I came here, they have $1,000 pens. And you know, you hand pens out, you're signing and you hand them out, you're handing them to all these people. Sometimes you have 30, 40 people. And they were $1,000 a piece. Beautiful pen, ballpoint. 1,000. It was gold, silver, gorgeous. But I'm handing out to kids that don't even know what they're. What is this, Mommy? It's kids. They're getting a pen for $1,000. They have no idea what it is. And I feel guilty because I'm like, I'm by nature, I don't, it's the government. I love the government like I love myself economically. I want to save money. So I'm saying, this is crazy. And it had another problem. They didn't write well. So I take it out. And I saw it, and there's no ink. And I got all you people looking, and you're saying, there must be something wrong with Trump. And I'm signing, and there's no ink in the pen, and it costs $1,000. This one, I called the guy.
What?
I said, I'd like to use your pen, but I can't have a gray thing with a big S on it.
What's happening?
Saying Sharpie. As I'm signing a $1 trillion airplane contract to buy brand new fighter jets, brand new B-2 bombers, of which we just ordered plenty.
Lost over $100K with this shitty administration. That's 100% your fault, dude.
The best, but I'll sign it like
Imagine
like
blaming
did,
the administration.
Give it to somebody else to sign, or an auto pen, or maybe
Look
sign
in the
it
mirror,
separately
brother.
in another room, but I can't use your pen. He said, well, I can make it nicer. I said, what can you do? He said,
There's
I'll paint
nothing
it
more
black.
cringe
I said,
than
nice.
you
And I
blaming
can
someone
even
else for
paint
your
the White
shitty trades.
House on it, sir, if you like, in gold. Almost real gold, not bad. And I can even do your signature, sir. And by the way, this was not staged. I just saw the pen sit there, and I thought of this as an example of how $25 million spent by me at the Federal Reserve Building would be a better job than $4 billion
Boom.
that they're spending. And one of the things
They're
that
so
Kevin
good
Warsh
at
told
this.
me, he said they ripped down the nicest building. I don't know what building they're talking about. They ripped down a building, Scott, right? Kevin
Called
Warsh
it.
said it's the most beautiful building in Washington. He said the most beautiful space. They ripped it down. Why did they do that? I don't know. Do you know what he's talking about? Is it true?
Yes, sir.
They ripped it down. We have a moron at the Fed. Who wouldn't be lowering interest rates right now? But
Literally,
I wanna
Kevin
thank
Warsh, the guy you
Janine
just nominated,
Pirro
will not be
and
lowering
Pam and her
rates.
group for having the courage to bring this suit. And I believe that the contractor on that job is probably one of the richest men in the country right now. I believe that it's not possible to spend that kind of money. $3 billion, $4 billion, nobody knows, nobody has any idea what it is. But it's over $3 billion.
No one
And it's
even
probably
knows.
going to be over $4 billion by the time they finish. And it may never get finished. Unless I take it over, I'll get it finished. But it can never be what it was. It's never going to have those beautiful ceilings. It's never going to have those incredible walls. The walls were 1.5 feet thick of solid masonry. They ripped them down for no reason. And I just gave you the story. And just to finish on this one, so I told that story to somebody and said, yeah, but it's not the same thing. I said, you're right.
Called it.
This one is better. It writes. So the guy said to me, you don't
This
have
is
to pay
so
me, sir.
easy.
I'll give them to you for nothing. I said, no, I don't want that. Let me pay you. I want to pay you. No, sir, you don't have to. You're the President of the United States. He was shocked. The head of Sharpie gets a call. I don't even know who the hell he is.
Wait, are we
I said, "Is this
still
really the
fucking talking
president?"
about Sharpie right
He
now?
said, no, you don't have to pay me, sir. This is such an honor. I said, no, I want to pay you. And he said, what would you like to pay? I said, how about $5 a pen? He said, that's all right. Whatever the hell we agreed to. Peanuts. As opposed to 1,000.
I feel like that's
And
really
these were
expensive for a
$1,000
pen,
pens.
right?
And we were giving them out. Sometimes, you were there for signings. I'd have 30, 40 people standing behind me. I'd give out 40 pens to people. Then somebody would say, could I have a couple extra? This way I'd go like this. Here, you want 5? Here, take 5. But the bottom line is, they're better pens. It's a business story. So for $5, could be 0, but for $5, I get a much better pen than for $1,000. And I can hand them out, and actually they become hot as a pistol, so what can I tell you? With that, could I give it to, please, a man who's done a great job at Treasury, Scott? Good luck, Scott.
Well, sir, as always,
Am
you
I
shut
going
that close,
crazy?
But that is very illustrative. Your economic leadership has made our
Called
military
it.
mission possible. Mr. President, national security, as you always say, is economic security. Your leadership has shown the American people that there is no prosperity without security. That our mighty military on one side, but the U.S. economic strength, is fighting off this evil regime. The Iranians believe they are fighting a two-front war. It is the military war.
You're not going
that
crazy.
our
You've been there
great
since
warriors
Nam.
are prosecuting. But on the other side, they are trying to take
Feels
control
like
of the
it.
global economy through a choke point that we believe does not exist and that we will
He knows a
overcome.
thing or two about getting
The historic
choked.
operation at Epic Fury seized a generational opportunity to demolish a regime that has coordinated over 4 decades of global terror and claimed thousands of American lives. Many people, especially the Democrats, underestimate the will
I
of the
actually like
American
Bissett.
people
I think he's pretty
for
cool.
short-term volatility, for 50 years of safety that we are going to have on the other side of this. And I believe energy prices will be lower, inflation will be lower before we had the appearance of security, which is not real security. Now, the American people and the world will have absolute security. Through your maximum pressure campaign, Treasury has worked to uncover all financial lifelines through the regime and cut them off. You gave that order last March. This was not something that happened overnight. This is something that has been contemplated for almost a year. The Iranian financial system collapsed in December. We have systematically weakened Iran's ability to fund operations and procure weapons, and that required months of preparations. Threats to American national security have no place in the global economic system. The oil market is well supplied. We have taken actions to ensure oil supplies stranded at sea
Percent's
are
popping
made
the
available
market
to
a
the
little
global
bit.
market. Your bold actions like the Development Finance
much, though.
Corporation's Maritime Reinsurance Program
probably
in
just a trend line
conjunction
bounce.
with Central Command will soon provide shippers through the Gulf region with a level of security we had never seen before. Mr. President, we are starting to see more and more movement in and out of the
it was
Gulf
a trend line
today.
bounce.
And this is more than yesterday, and this is the beginning. I am confident
Pretty
that
evident.
shipping traffic will continue to increase on a daily basis, even before we secure the straits. Turning to the home front, the U.S. economy remains strong. We had a strong economy thanks to you. We are the best insulated in the world thanks to your energy efforts in term 1 and term 2. The U.S. is an energy superpower. American workers' purchasing power is finally being restored. The latest figures indicate robust real compensation increases. We are starting to see the working family tax cuts benefits bearing fruit this tax season. 44% of tax returns
Mag
have
7 low of the
claimed
day.
at least
Spies
one
bouncing
of
a
your
little
signature
bit.
policies. No tax on
Finding
tips, no tax on overtime, no
support.
tax on Social Security,
I don't know,
deductibility of auto loans.
mid-30s.
The average tax refund is
I'm
up
watching
more than
25 at this
10%
point.
for working Americans. The economy you vitalized through your pro-growth policies is well positioned to withstand these temporary disruptions. The United States dollar has reasserted itself as a safe haven asset. The U.S. dollar has appreciated since the hostilities began because everyone knows, thanks to your efforts, the U.S. economy is the best position in the world and capital is flowing in. Efforts to reprioritize economic security are ensuring the United States remains secure, resilient, and prepared for the challenges ahead. As we approach the 250th anniversary, America will never be safer and more secure militarily and economically. Thank you.
I just want to ask you a question. Is this guy central casting? I'm looking at him. I'm in Treasury. He might not be so good for war. I don't know. Pretty good. No, I'm looking pretty good too. I'm looking at this guy. He's central casting. Even the glasses are perfect. Where do you get those glasses? I think I'm going to get glasses. That's beautiful. Great job. That's really good. No, he's done a great job. And you all have. Proud of you all.
I love
Do you
you
have any
all.
questions?
Yes, Mr. President, are you going to go in for the uranium? Like, how do you secure Iran and...
Let's assume I was or I wasn't. Why would I ever answer a question?
Can you accomplish that?
Maybe I will,
Am I gonna
maybe
go in?
I won't.
Oh, yeah, I'm going in. We're going in tomorrow at 3 o'clock. How could you possibly ask a question like that and expect an answer? I don't know. But I don't know. I think you're a friendly person, too. It's just such a ridiculous question.
He's basically calling her dumb.
Mr. President, yes, Mr. President.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a report that potentially the U.S. is looking at diverting some munitions, air defenses that were meant for Ukraine to the Middle East. Is there any accuracy to that? Is that something you're considering?
Well, I'd have to ask me, but we do that all the time. You know, we have tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have them in other countries, like in Germany and all over Europe. We have, you know, we're packed. And sometimes we take from one and we use for another. We helped Ukraine. Biden started, and he gave $350 billion away. Too much, way too much. And we sell it now to NATO. We sell it to NATO, and they probably give it to Ukraine. Mostly, I think they give it to Ukraine. But we get paid for everything that we give. We don't give anything anymore. It's a tough situation, that whole Ukraine situation. Very, very tough.
It's a tough one.
We're working very hard on
It's a
getting that
doozy.
one solved. It doesn't have any impact on us, virtually nothing. In fact, if anything, I mean, we sell a lot of equipment for that unfortunate war. 25,000 people died last month. 25,000, so mostly soldiers.
Holy shit.
Some in the towns, but for the most part, soldiers. They're dying. Nobody's seen anything like it since World War II. It's a terrible situation, and hopefully that's going to get settled. You know, I settled 8 wars, and many of them I think were more difficult than this one. In theory, they were more difficult, but there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. Tremendous hatred. I've seen it before, but I've never seen it maybe to this extent. And I think that's calming down a little bit, and I think we have a chance of getting it done. But it doesn't affect us thousands of miles away. That's why when I heard the head of Germany say, this is not our war about Iran, I said, well, Ukraine's not our war. We helped, but Ukraine's not our war. I thought it was a very inappropriate statement to make, but he made it. You can't erase it. But he felt that way. I said, well, you know, Ukraine's not our war. And it's not, but I would like to see all those young people stop being killed. I mean, they're being killed. It's like a slaughterhouse. What's happening there is horrible. 25,000 on average. Last 2 months ago, it was 31,000 people died in 1 month, Marco, right? I said, it's getting crazy. It's getting worse. Think of it, 31,000 soldiers, both Russian and Ukraine, died 2 months ago, 25,000 last month. And if I can solve that, it would be a great honor to do it. I wish it could have gone faster. I solved other ones in 1 day that had been going for 32 years. We stopped one that was starting. It was already started.
Called it.
India and Pakistan.
Right there,
And the Prime Minister of
1140.
Pakistan, a very fine gentleman, said President Trump solved something that was going to cost 10 million lives. That was going to cost a lot of
Called
lives.
the
Two
rejection.
nuclear nations.
Called the bounce,
And
called the rejection, right here.
Those were complicated. But we
69.
got them done quickly. This one is
Called that one too.
It's a shame. And the only reason I'm doing it, frankly, is because I want to stop death. I want to stop the death from happening. I think I'm going to go with a man that I've missed, Brian. I haven't seen you in a long time. I miss you. He's been in a very strange location. I don't know. He's had a strange thing happen. But anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Well, good to see you too. Actually, good to see the entire cabinet here. Good to see you too. You talked about gas prices coming down. Obviously, they will. But would you ever consider suspending the federal gas tax in order to kind of
fuck it.
temporarily alleviate?
More taxes.
Well, some people should do that. As an example, in California, every time prices go down, his prices go up because the gas tax is bigger than the tax itself, bigger than the product itself. It hasn't. I mean, we've thought about it, I guess, but honestly, when I did this, I knew it was going to be a little bit. We had the greatest economy ever. We had the greatest stock market in history.
Ever.
I said, we're going to take a little bit of a hit, a short-term hit. It's going to end up going much higher than it was, in my opinion. I said we're going to have a great stock market. Nobody thought we could get to 50,000 or 7,000 in the respective indices. Nobody thought that was going to happen, but it did in the first year. They said it couldn't happen in 4 years, that you wouldn't hit 50 in 4 years, but you could maybe get close. We hit it in the first year. And I said, this is a good time to solve a problem that you had to solve. And that's what I did. But the gas tax, people have talked about it. It's something we have in our pocket if we think it's necessary.
And if I can follow real quickly, you just recently took off, Secretary Duffy, 17,000 truckers off the road that quite frankly could not speak English, which is a safety issue.
Yeah.
Could we ever extend that to Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, cab drivers, for someone who takes a lot of Ubers? A lot of my drivers can't speak
Oh, well, that's not good. I didn't like that. Go ahead, John.
So that's a really good point. The problem is that our states are the ones that issue these licenses. So with commercial driver's licenses, we do have some federal control. But again, we have thousands of people who can't speak the language, long-standing rule, and it's a safety issue, right? If you can't understand road signs, if you can't communicate with law enforcement when you're pulled over and communicate what's on your rig, huge problem. But the last administration, Mr. President, they let truck driving schools self-certify that they were qualified to train truck drivers. And so this is like the herein Center. So you pay $800 and you get a certificate that you passed a CDL driving school. And again, they have no skills. They don't have the knowledge, and they don't have the skills. They haven't gone through any of the testing. And then they get licenses, and they're killing Americans on our roads. So it's remarkable, the rot that the last administration allowed to take place. We are ending that, and I need partnership with our states. Even California started to come on board. Even Gavin has started to play ball with us, which is surprising.
Shocking.
Not all the way, a little bit of ball.
Mr. President, yes.
It's interesting because I just saw something that the nursing home business and the daycare centers in particular, they went out and inspected them in Minnesota, and they didn't exist. They're knocking on the door. He happens to be a young man, Nick, nice young man. He's done a very good job. They're knocking on doors. It's like homes. And they're getting hundreds of thousands of that. They didn't exist. And in California, it's worse. It's even worse. And I spoke with Russell Vogt. I said, Russell, don't send them any money. He said, but we have a court order that we have to. Can you believe it? A judge. The judges are really hurting this country.
Right here.
Our judges,
clear as day.
Justice Roberts doesn't like when I say it, but the judges are really hurting this country. And frankly, the justices, the Supreme Court, has really hurt our country too.
Mr. President, do you have a new deadline, given that there are some talks now? Do you have a new deadline before taking?
No, I'll announce it. I mean, right now, you're talking about a deadline for doing some pretty big damage, even bigger than we've done. We'll see. Look, we have very substantial talks going on with respect to Iran, with the right people. You know, I told you about a president.
Called
right?
it.
Steve, can I reveal the present?
Fuck.
You can do anything you want.
Thank you. They said to show you the fact that we're real and solid and we're there, we're going to let you have 8 boats of oil. 8 boats. 8 big boats of oil. This was 2 days ago. And they'll sail up tomorrow. That was 3 days ago. And I didn't think much about it. And then I watched the news, and they said, a very good anchor, actually, happened to be Fox. But I watched it, and he said, something's unusual happening. There are 8 boats that are going right up the middle of
Called it.
the Hormuz Strait.
Look at that. So
8
obvious.
big tankers are going loaded up with oil right through.
So
and I said, well,
obvious.
I guess they were right, and they were real. And
You're
I
welcome.
think they were Pakistani flagged. And I said, well, I guess we're dealing with the right people. And actually, they then apologized for something they said, and they said, we're going to send 2 more boats. And it ended up being 10 boats. All right, I hope I haven't screwed up your negotiations, but I thought it was appropriate to say, because I did taunt you the other day by saying they're going to give us a present.
There were two illegal immigrants who were arrested at San Francisco airport for ignoring deportation orders. At the same time, as you highlighted, really great reception from American travelers for ICE agents. Is there a PR aspect of this that can allow future deportations to go on with less protesting, less outrage?
Yeah, it's amazing because by putting ICE there, look, the press was very unfair to ICE. So was everyone else. These are great American patriots. They have a tough job. They have to find murderers and take them out of our country. I wouldn't want to do it. You wouldn't want to do it. Most people wouldn't want to do it. They do it. And, 11,888 murderers. And that's murderers. That's not drug dealers. That's not lots of other things. It's not people from mental institutions. Entire jail populations were released from major countries and let into our country through the open border. And ICE has done an amazing job. I wouldn't want that job. It's a tough job, dangerous job. So what happens is, by putting them at the airport, and I just say, do me a favor, take off your masks. And they did. For that, not for when they're looking for some, cold-blooded killers and they're in the, but for that, and they did. They took them off. And the passengers, I see the interviews of people, they're saying, these are nice people. One person said, he's a very strong man, but he's a nice guy. He grabbed my bag. He helped the woman with a bag that she couldn't lift. And I'll tell you, I don't want to use the word rehab because there was nothing to rehab, but rehab from the press, because the press is so tough on them. And these crooks in Minnesota, these crooked politicians and dirty cops, they're dirty cops, they're dirty politicians. Waltz is a dirty, crooked politician. The Attorney General is a crooked guy. He's no investigations, and I hope JD's going to do a great job. He's in charge of it now with somebody who's very talented. But I think it's easy stuff. They say $19 billion, think of it, is missing. $19 billion. If we would solve half of the fraud problem, Pam, in this country, we would have more than a balanced budget. We'd have a surplus. And in the case of Minnesota, it's very Somalia-oriented. Think of it. These people come from a crooked country, disgusting country, one of the worst countries in the world. Acknowledged to be one of the worst countries in the world. Some people say it's the worst. They have no money. They have nothing. They come to our country, low IQs, and they rob us blind.
They do have low IQs.
Stupid people. And they rob us blind because we have crooked politicians and we have dirty cops. The Attorney General is a dirty cop. It's my opinion. It's only my opinion. And something should be done about him. Let's see what kind of a job he can do.
Mr. President, yesterday you said that you hate mail-in ballots.
Excuse me?
Should Iran be able to charge a toll for the Strait of Hormuz? They're charging some vessels to go through.
Oh, yeah. Well, should they be able to? I mean, they shouldn't be able to, but they're doing it a little bit. I don't know. Look, their capability is a lot less than it was 2 weeks ago. And with every week and every day, frankly, it gets less and less. All I can tell you is they're begging to make a deal. So let's see what happens. We may make a deal.
Yeah, you say that until 10 minutes from now they say no.
You mean I used a mail-in ballot? You probably said, yeah, I did.
Why did you
You know
use
what?
that? Is
Because
it
I'm
reliable?
President of the United States, and because of the fact that I'm President of the United States, I did a mail-in ballot for elections that took place in Florida, because I felt I should be here instead of being in the beautiful sunshine
But you
taking.
were in Palm Beach, sir, the last few weekends.
That's right, and I decided that I was going to vote by mail-in ballot because I couldn't be there, because I had a lot of different things. But we have exceptions for mail-in ballots. You do know that, right? So if you're away, we have an exception. If you're in the military, we have an exception. If you're on a business trip, we have an exception. If you're disabled, we have an exception. And if you're ill, if you're not feeling good, whatever. So I was away, mostly in Washington, D.C., so I used a mail-in ballot. But I appreciate the question because I know it was so well-meaning. Yeah.
Mr. President, I actually just looked up the company that owns Sharpie, and they stock turned positive after you mentioned it.
Hell yeah. Insider trading.
By the way, they deserve it.
Yeah, question.
It's a good product.
So you gave a 5-day deadline. With oil tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz, is that a condition to move that 5-day deadline?
Well, we don't want anything impeded. We want ships to go through. We don't know that they've dropped any mines, by the way, because we blew up all their mine droppers, right? We blew up every one of them. They're going to have to take them out on a rowboat or something. I don't know how the hell they get them out there, but we don't really know. You might speak to it. We don't know. There could be a few of them out there, but that's a lot. You know, if you have $1 billion ship and you get hit by a mine, it's not the greatest thing in the world. So if you think, the problem with that, that's not like you've decimated a military. If you think there may be a mine, that's a bad thought, and it stops things up. How are we doing in that regard, Peter?
Mr. President, you're right. We have so heavily degraded their coastal defense capabilities and their naval capabilities that any strategic or operational attempts to do those types of things are extremely limited. And we continue to move over the top of that. Now, whether Iran makes a wise choice or not to try to execute that is part of how this deal comes together. But with every passing day, the military pressure that we're putting on them lessens their ability to really hold that militarily at issue.
I mean, the problem with the issue of the Hormuz Straits is this. We've decimated them as a military. No Air Force, no Navy, very few rockets left. We blew up so many. Hard to manufacture them. Same thing with drones. The leadership is gone. The problem with the Straits is this.
Called it.
Let's say we do a great job. We say we got 99%.
Absolutely called it.
1% is unacceptable because 1% is a missile going into the hull of a ship that cost $1 billion, right? So 1% is we can't. If we do a 99% decimation, that's no good. So it's really, you know, a little bit. But I have a feeling it's going to clean up pretty quickly. I could just say this: they want to make, and I probably hurt our little negotiation. It gives them a little impetus to say, well, I wish you didn't say that. But they said yesterday that we weren't negotiating with them, and now they admit that we were negotiating with them. So they want to make a deal. The reason they want to make a deal is they have been just beat to shit.
So the
Just beat the shit.
It's an option. I mean, I wouldn't talk about it, but it's an option.
Is that something you thought about?
Well, in Venezuela, we've done very well working with Venezuela, certainly. And we've taken in billions and billions of dollars. And by the way, Venezuela is doing better right now than they've ever done in the history of their country. And it's sort of like a joint venture. But the United States has made a lot of money, Marco, right?
Called that.
Do you want to talk
right
about
there.
that for a second?
Called it.
Venezuela?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Venezuela in the first 2 months of this year generated more revenue from oil sales than they had most of all of last year. But the money's not being stolen
Yeah, that's
anymore.
because we
and it's being held in
sanctioned.
a U.S. Treasury blocked account. And to the extent it's flowing to the Venezuelan government, it's going to help people, like fund hospitals, pay teachers. It's not
And we
being
get a
stolen.
lot of it, and they got more than they have in many years. Think of it. We get a lot of it. We have a deal. We get a lot of it. We had 100 million, think of this, 100 million barrels we took in the first 2 weeks. 100 million barrels. That's a lot of oil. It's a lot of ships. And we got some, and they got some. We paid for the ships. A lot of money left over. And Venezuela has done better now with us. Call it a partner, call it whatever you want. We've made a lot of money, and they've made a lot of money. We've paid for the cost of that military hit many, many times over. And we've only just started. Our relationship with Venezuela has been amazing. The people, actually, I'm the highest polling person. In other words, after the presidency, I think I may go to Venezuela and run for president against Elsie. I may run against Elsie. It's an option. No, they like me in Venezuela, but it's an option for me. It's a wonderful option. Yes.
There's some reports that Gulf allies are concerned about winding down the war too soon and potentially leaving Iran.
Well, they probably like us to stay, but
the concern.
If we don't stay, look, it's a beautiful thing about airplanes that go 2,000 miles an hour is you can get back there very quickly. If we don't stay, we're going to be protecting them. We know, they've been very good. Hey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, in particular, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, the three of them, Kuwait, Bahrain, They've been 100%. Now, in all fairness, they could have gone the other way. They were surprisingly missiled. They were shot at. Nobody ever thought they'd be shot at. UAE had 1,400 missiles aimed at them. Fortunately, they had the greatest anti-missile weapon in history called the Patriot. Almost every single missile was shot down. We had an incident recently where 101 missiles were shot at a certain thing that we own. It's very valuable. 101 missiles going 2,000 miles an hour.
Oh my God! Look how good I am at this.
Out of the 101
called the
missiles,
bounce,
every
called the
single one of them
rejection.
was shot down in midair and fell into the ocean. It's
Read it and
amazing
weep,
technology.
losers.
There's nobody has equipment like we have.
Iran still has that enriched uranium. Is it even possible?
Well, you're going to have to see, but I think we're in just very good shape. We're roaming. You know what we're doing? You know the
We're in
word
the best
roaming
shape.
free? We're over their skies with the most beautiful planes you've ever seen. Roaming free, there's not a damn thing they can do about it. And it would be nice if, like the fake news New York Times, which writes so fake, and the Wall Street Journal is terrible.
Called it.
Terrible.
Called it
I
to
read
the
a story
tick.
today that I'm desperate to
Look
make
at
a deal.
that.
I'm not-
Called
I
it to
don't-
the tick.
If I
Called
was
that
desperate,
bounce.
he'd be the first to know.
Rejection, bounce.
Let's get the hell out of there. I'm the opposite of desperate. I don't care. I want to know. In fact, we have other targets we want to hit before we leave. We're hitting them on a daily basis. No, I don't talk about you. I can't talk about specifics. A lot of people say that wouldn't matter. Maybe it does matter. Who knows? But I wouldn't talk. It's like the question this young lady asked. Sorry about I embarrassed her. I don't want to embarrass you because I think I think she's a friendly reporter, so I'm sorry. But I can't say what we're going to do because if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here for long. They'd probably, what is it called, the 25th Amendment? They'd institute the
Dude,
25th
Howard Lutnick, it's always such a performative laugh.
Which they didn't do with Biden, which is shocking.
The President feels safe enough to leave the region because Steve said that they've got enough uranium to make 11 bombs. That's a very scary thing. So,
Well, it's again, I can't talk to you about that. You're asking me a question. You're essentially saying, will I go in and do something? I can't talk to you about that.
You're looking at a coalition of ships to help, warships to help protect tankers. How close are you to getting that coalition?
Well, we have a coalition for them, but they should have been.
Shout out to FFM. If you want to train with me, if you want to learn how to do all this trendline stuff, GoonieTrading.com.
We don't need it at all. We have so much oil. Our country is not affected by this. We have twice the amount of oil as Saudi Arabia or Russia, and soon it'll be 3 times
This is
the amount.
us
Chris, do you want
not
to
being
speak to that for a
affected by
second?
it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Not
Our
being
total oil
affected.
production is greater than Saudi Arabia's plus Russia, and more than we consume in the United States. So we're the largest.
Pretty good.
Pretty
You know what they call it?
Unaffected.
Drill, baby, drill.
Mr. President.
Unaffected.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, it's same thing for natural gas. We went, before your first term, we were the largest exporter of natural gas in the world. Today, we're just by far the largest. I mean, we're the largest importer, now we're by far the largest exporter, and it's growing rapidly this year. New facilities are coming online, new production's ramping up.
We're doing an amazing job. We're getting a lot of help from that
Matt,
man
your
right
trend
over
lines
there.
look
He's
like
getting
sure
approvals
things
done
because they
quickly
are a
and
sure thing.
Very environmental. He's an environmentalist, actually. He does a great job, but he gives you a fast approval or rejection. Do you have anything to say?
Well, back on Venezuela, where Chris and I both had a chance to be there, I literally think they're going to put a statue to President Trump, and I'm not being, it's not a political statement, it's an actual thing.
So. That would be a great honor.
No, because it's like they view President Trump like Simon Bowler. He's the liberator of a country, and this is a country where they love American baseball. You look on the street, they're wearing NBA jerseys, and Delcy and her team working with us, getting back. Chris and I both experienced, it was the first time in Venezuelan history that they had the free press allowed to come on to essentially where the White House, the Palacio Miraflores, and it was an emotional thing for people that had been for 20 years had never had a chance to be there. So whether it's and then production, it's showing up in production. The American companies that are coming back, most of those American companies have many American Venezuelan team members. One company in Houston's got 600 Venezuelan Americans that know more about reviving that industry. So their GDP went is a 1/4 of what it was before. They want to get back. They remember what it was. Their production on oil production is climbing towards 50% increase just in the 3 months we've been here. That flows to American refineries on the Gulf Coast, lowering the price of gas in America. So it's a
Forget that. When are they going to do the statue? The hell with you.
Thank you. You've been really honest about how disappointed you are in Sir Keir Starmer, particularly in relation to Iran. So I'm curious about your phone calls with him, how easy they might be. And also, were you surprised by...
Are we talking about Starmer?
Yes. Are you surprised by how weak...
I think he's a lovely man. I do. I think he's a lovely man. But I think he did something that was shocking. He didn't want to help us. And maybe in particular that country, we were the longest bond, the longest ally. Australia too. Australia was not great. I was a little surprised by Australia. I wouldn't say anybody was great other than the 5 countries in the Middle East. We never really had very much support. We spend trillions of dollars supporting countries, and this is Little League. This isn't the big league deal. This is sort of Little League pool for us. This was look, we decimated them in a period of a week. In the first week, it was over. In the first few days, it was over. I think the Navy took us 3 days to essentially annihilate that. They weren't there. So if there's ever a big one, which I hope there's not, but if there's ever a big one, I don't think they're going to be there. And that's not fair. And we have to remember that as a country, because we spend trillions of dollars protecting Europe, protecting the countries of NATO. They weren't there for us. For small time. This is small time. You know what? Venezuela is a big deal, but it's not the big one. They weren't there. So what makes you think they'd be there if we needed them for something? And your prime minister was not there, as you know. He was there after we won. He said, we'd like to send some ships. I said, we already won. We don't need them anymore.
But can you explain why he was reluctant to help?
Why he what?
Why he was reluctant to help with Iran?
He didn't have to. I didn't ask him. I just said, you tell me, no. I mean, we're always going to be there, or at least we were. I don't know about anymore, to be honest with you. I would have to be honest. We were always there when they needed help. We always would have been there when they needed help. I mean, think of it. We're there to protect Europe from Russia. In theory, it doesn't affect us. We have an ocean, big, fat, beautiful ocean. But we're there to protect NATO, to protect them from Russia. But they're not there to protect us. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. I tell you, a lot of people were big NATO people. I was never big. I was okay. I got them to pay 5%. By the way, they haven't paid it yet. You know that. I got them to pay 5% from 2% to 5%. They didn't pay it yet. I got them to pay up to 2% because they weren't paying the 2%. Then I got them to pay 5%, which they should be at. And we had a lot of, that was great. Oh, only Trump could do it. But the problem is they haven't paid. Because if you look at the numbers, they haven't paid yet. So we were there for them, but they were not there for us. Did we need them? No. I never thought we needed them. I was more doing a test. I said, I really would love to have you come up. Bring your boats. You can sail through the beautiful Hormuz Straits, and you can protect people that are being shot at. They didn't do it. And that's small potatoes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, does it affect the state visit with the King that you're going to have in April? Are you looking forward to that?
With the King?
With the King coming here?
No. He's a friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. As you know, he honored me and our country. He really honored our country. But we had an amazing time. I've known him as Prince Charles. I know him as King Charles. I'm proud of him. He's fighting a tough battle. He's tough. I think he's a fantastic. It has nothing to do with that. It's different. And he's going to be here very soon, as you know. We're going to have a state dinner. It's going to be great. But I was very disappointed when the Prime Minister said, I won't be able to. It started with the island that the indigenous have claimed away from your country. And for some reason, you went for it. And all of a sudden, indigenous people that never saw the place, they never saw it. he was afraid that we would do something to insult, because he's a liberal. That's the way they think. And when we needed the island to land that beautiful B-2 bomber, we were told we can't use it. We'd have to fly back to Missouri, which is a 17-hour flight, as opposed to a couple of hours. And I said, you gotta be kidding. Not good. They made a big mistake.
Mr. President, is the Friday deadline for Iran, is that pushed back now, and if not?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Mr. Witkoff and JD and Jared will tell me whether or not they think it's going along. And if it's not going along, maybe not. And we have a lot of time. You know what? It's a day. In Trump time, a day, you know what it is? That's an eternity. Say it, what?
European Parliament just passed a major deportation plan. Some of the tenets of it are that member states can deport rejected asylum seekers to third countries regardless of whether they have a connection to it. It allows for detention periods of up to 2 years and also offshore return hubs or detention centers similar to ours.
Who did this? Which country?
European Parliament, and the vote was not close. It was 389 in favor to 208 against.
I'd vote with them, yeah.
Europe is where you are now. Do you think that will move the needle with Democrats?
I don't care about the Democrats. The Democrats hate our country.
How the fuck is this still going on?
The Democrats are in chaos right now. And they have no common sense. You know, they have one quality that's amazing. They stick together. And it's harder because they stick together in a ridiculous policy like men playing in women's sports, open borders for everybody, including murderers and anybody else that want it. We're open to you. Come in, murderers. You know why they do that? They do that for a couple of reasons, but they do it for votes because they think they're going to vote for the Democrats. Even though I did great with the Hispanic vote, tremendous with the Hispanic vote. You know, I turned that whole thing around. The Hispanics like me, and I like them. And you know, it's interesting with Hispanics.
I like my Latinos,
everybody said, oh, that's going
says Trump.
Ruin us. For the Hispanic, it was just the opposite. They know
breaking news, Trump likes Latinos.
Death and crime, and they're smart people. And they
bring it on down, Shakira.
They wanted to be protected from the people that were coming into our country. So, you know, I won the election with a very tremendous Hispanic vote, and I think it's higher now than it was then. So, we're a party of common sense. The Democrats are a party of insanity. They're a party that will destroy our country. If I didn't win this election, I believe our country would have been destroyed by now. 1 year, that's all it would have taken. If you had Kamala or Sleepy Joe, either one, it wouldn't have mattered. They're the same thing. Two sleepy people, two stupid people. I believe, and by the way, Gavin Newsom, who is one of the candidates, I believe he took himself out of the running when he says he suffers from mental disability. And a reporter said it was terrible that I talked that way about somebody with mental disability. I said, I have no problem with it, but I don't want a person with mental
Howard
disability.
Lutnick is always trying to laugh. He's always just trying to be like, dude, that's fucking hilarious, Trump. He's always the first one laughing.
And Gavin Newsom said that he can't read a speech. He can't do almost anything. And then he said he's as dumb as all the people in the room, and he got accused of being a racist.
He said he was black because he was dumb. He's like, I'm just like you guys. I'm black, I'm dumb, I can't read.
He's actually a very stupid person. So I believe he's out of the running. I think that statement, that interview, he admitted that he's a stupid person. I don't want a stupid person being president. You know, I'll say it right now. I say it because no press never reports it. I'm the only president that ever took a cognitive test. I took it 3 times. It's actually a very hard test for a lot of people.
Just locked in $1,000, sold at $215, bought back at $1. It took not exactly. It took 1 hour. In 1 hour, I made $1,000 trading options. If you want to trade options with me, get in the Discord. GoonieTrading.com. This trade paid for an entire year, right here. Here's your proof. In at 11:18, out at 12:11.
And I was told when I went in,
made $1,105 after
my current
fees.
doctors were fantastic doctors. They said, well, if you take it, you know, it's Walter Reed. It's essentially a public hospital. And if you do badly, it's probably going to get out. But I aced it. I got them all right. And one doctor said, I've never seen anybody get them all right. I've been doing the test for 20 years. I want people, I would love to see anybody that's a president or a vice president or anybody that has any chance of being a president, I would like to see them take a cognitive test. Because we had a man in this office that had no clue what was happening. And let me give you a little secret. He wasn't a smart man 30 years ago. And I'll tell you about President Obama. He wasn't a smart man either. I know all about him. He wasn't a smart man, highly overrated. He was a great divider. And our country can't go through that anymore, can't go through. We have done an amazing job. I had to do a little stopover. I call it an excursion. I had to do a little stopover in Iran, and we had to knock the hell out of them because our country would not have been safe. The world wouldn't have been safe. I've done a great favor for the world. The world has not been reciprocal, because when I told NATO, where we give billions and billions of dollars, trillions over the years, I said, do you mind coming up and giving us a little hand with the streets? Send up some. They didn't want to get involved. And I believe that's going to cost them dearly. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Keep moving. Thank you, guys. Keep moving. Thank you. Thanks. Keep moving, guys.
Oh, thank fucking God that's over. Jesus, dude. That took it out of me. But wow, look at, I fucking called that one right there too. Dude, I'm calling literally every single tick. This is what happens. Like when you really wrap your head around these trendline ICT classes, I could read this chart better than I could read a book. Like literally every single point up or down I've predicted today. Like it's all happened live in front of you guys. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's all like 100% right there in your face. What else to tell you? I mean, it was the best $6,500 in my life. That trendline class was the best $5,000 in my life to learn about fair value gaps. Putting it together, the $11,500 I spent on these classes and the hundreds of hours of listening to some fucking lunatic scream, best financial and time dedication of my life. I would never be able to see the market this clearly without just some of the best trading mentors of our time. I don't know where I would be. Like literally the $1,000 I made right here on this options trade, that $1,000 not possible without them. The I don't know, $30,000. I don't even know how much money I made over here. What is this? Let's find out how much money. Like, folks, if you're wondering if it's worth it, like to take those classes and learn from those people, like obviously, clearly, like I am living proof that you could go from being a fucking loser and then just for the cheap cost of $11,000, $12,000. What's the total? And this is actually undershooting how much I made because I just took the screenshot before. Obviously, it's now even more. But just to give you an idea of like why this is obviously worth it. Let's see. 36. Yeah. So is it worth it? You tell me. You fucking tell me. Is it worth it? I mean, you guys are probably sitting there thinking to yourself, wow, it's so generous that Matt just does this for us for free. But I'm not the one you should be thanking. You should be thanking the giants of whose shoulders I am standing on. You should be thanking them for giving this information to us. Folks, I didn't come up with this. I wasn't smart enough to realize these patterns and the way of the market. It's because I was able to learn from the true titans of the retail trading industry. So while I do appreciate the applause in here, understand that this is, understand that it is exclusively because I've learned from people far better at this than I am. Like this is not me. Am I now predicting every single fucking tick movement within NQ? Yes. But that's just because I've learned from people who are far better at this than I am. Like I have. Like, so please understand that I do appreciate the support, but it's all from them. It really, really is. It's all from them. Like, where would I be without them? These gains mean nothing when you're this good at reading the market. Like, they gave me the red pill to enter the matrix. And once you see it the way I do on the back of Legends, yeah, there's something. There's definitely something. Well, I have to be honest. That little cabinet meeting took it out of me because it was actually fucking crazy. It was actually insane. So here we are. Here we are, Scooter. What was that picture taken at? 3,300. It'd be embarrassing if I take less than that money now, you know? Anyway, folks, if you haven't already, if you want to trade with me and basically learn from the legends that I've learned from, GoonieTrading.com. And if you want to trade with other people's money, Funded Futures Network, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video, 40% off. When you buy one, you get one for free, and there's no activation fee. For people who are rocking 2 accounts, this is obviously the cheapest in the game. So code Goonie if you want to check that out. Other than that, oops, sorry, don't look at that. I hit the wrong button. My apologies. Other than that, I appreciate all the good vibes. Obviously, we went way over on time today, but I think it was necessary to teach you guys like where high tier trendline trading can actually take you. So I think it was well worth the effort. So I do appreciate you guys sticking in, and I think you guys learned as much as I learned. You know, I think we did this all together, and I think that's really the true beauty of trading, is just finally just locking in those trend lines. Like, where would we be without them? Where would we be without them? Thanks for the support. You guys are the fucking best. Have a happy Thursday. I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee. I hope you make a shitload of money. If you want to hang out in the Discord, I hope to see you there. If not, we're going to be streaming again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. bright and early, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a payday Friday. So I hope you are lucky in your payday Friday. Other than that, like I said, I hope you fucking crush it today. And you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with me. And bye.